him out. Unfortunately, Honor seems to be getting the better hand of it, so I'll just focus on a target that doesn't fight back. That purple buff, stolen away there by the Bacchus, feels good. Athena trying to repeat that exact same story on the Soul. Let's see if it goes well for her. Unfortunately, not going to be able to succeed. Yes, she will! Support's on top today.
I mean, with the Sunder in its current state, it's just so hard for anyone who doesn't have it to secure their first buff. 400 damage is just an insane amount of secure. There's pretty much no way the Yarkor is going to be able to out-secure that away from Elion there. But it does mean things are just evened out in the duo lane. It's not too bad for them because they've both got it on each side. So there's no advantage either way just yet.
No man, but the poke is certainly spelling Cowabunga's way at the very least. Junglers have some interesting decisions to make here, especially when you know the team you're up against is a threat. Both of these teams have pro-level, peak, prime talent. Question is, who decides to get first? Who's going to be the mid is the answer. Jingwei taking quite a bit of poke there, but the Brutalize doesn't quite finish the job. So Spooks, where would you like to see this Susano go as a response?
I mean, right now, not a whole lot of places he can go as a response. He can look over to this left side as the game goes on a little bit more, just because of how far ahead Cowabunga is. They're just pushed so far up in this lane. It makes the gank a lot easier. That said, his camps are pretty much all down on that left side, so it might be more beneficial to drift to the right side. The camp's going to be up a little bit sooner. You can already see him heading towards that Odin.
Might just be trying to take advantage of Solo or Troll not having that cage up just quite yet, which can really hinder a gank. But Odin getting a bit aggressive here, not knowing who lurks, waiting in the wings. Gonna be just bird bombing their way back to safety. Susano watches from a distance, picks up that Warhorn. It's the Warhorn Wars now, but Fenrir's coming to try to get the final issue. Odin dropped down low, dropped down to 0. Nog takes that first blood, might be paying him back for that favor. One last claw swipe will do the damage, and Panatom takes down Nog as a response.
So jungler for jungler, and once again, the Warhorn is taken. This time, Cowabunga picking that one up. A nice trade both ways. It does favor ever so slightly Scrumptious, just because they get the first blood bounty on it as well. But at the same time, Panatom being left on the map on this Fenrir with a kill is not the best thing in the world. It's not exactly what Scrumptious wanted to see out of that gank. Sure, they end up getting the kill, but you have to weigh how valuable it is. Losing your jungler to pick up a kill on their solo, Haddix doesn't have a lot he can do in this lane before Solo or Troll gets back, so it kind of evens out. He's slightly ahead, hits level 5 first. It is what it is.
Bacchus hitting hard apparently, as well as Elion going to take a bit of a tumble back to the fountain there. 2 kills now on the board here for Cowabunga, some coast-to-coast violence. You make a fair point there. Odin as well is just not going to be doing too much in general in this lane until we see bigger rotations happen. That's the utility that Cade brings you. Might need a bit of utility from your teammate, Susano, underneath a bit of pressure here from the Hecate. But without Fenrir waiting in the wings quite just yet, not in too much danger. Is pursuing. Panatom just trying to keep that aggression going. Puppy Dog's diving deep, it smells blood. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they're going to find any ducks to hunt quite just yet, unless they decide to leap on in. Brutalized bound, finds a chew toy to bring back to their friend Hecate. Doesn't even need them to throw it again. We played a quick game of fetch with ourselves. Unfortunately, Shinto doesn't quite like that game, is going to call for it to end instead. A nice return kill there on the Puppy Dog.
Very aggressive for Panatom, and to be fair, that's kind of what's expected from Panatom. He likes to go deep, he likes to look for those kills, but the one-for-one trade doesn't find you a whole lot of value. Gets some XP over to Shinto, he picks up a kill for it. Jingwei's not the one you want to be getting ahead in this match. Scrumptious is definitely a later game team right now, and it kind of relies on Shinto being able to scale up. The quicker he's able to do that, the more problems you're going to have as Cowabunga. That said, 1 kill isn't the end of the world, and it does mean that, Panatom is able to find those aggressive plays. He's able to get in deep and look for the invades and try to strip some XP away. If you can slow down Nog onto Susano, that does do wonders for your team.
It's also a bit of a mental game that they're playing. Just you recognize that Panatom's loco. They will go for anything. You think you're safe just because you got the numbers advantage? No. This Puppy Dog is mad with rabies. Does not have its shots. So you're going to have to give it some shots right back with those basics to make sure they go down. And knowing that, they might have to play a bit more cautious in the future. Takate might as well, having to use those open the gates to quickly retreat back to tower. Susano's winding around the back, though.
Ooh.
Sends that Typhoon in, barely gonna live the winds. Unfortunately, can't quite live that basic. Shinto finishes the kill there on the mid.
Very good coordination coming out from Scrumptious, just what you need. If Nog's going to be that aggressive, you have to be able to match it somewhere, and it looks like the dual lane is going to see some fighting as well.
Athena ult just going to protect that on turn, get a bit more space. Bacchus closes that gap with a nice flop, and there comes another kill for Aurora onto their opposition. Elion just has not had a good time against the Floppus.
This is an excellent engagement, and that's what this dual lane really brings you. The Bacchus Soul combo just has so much damage in the early game. Once you get that heat fully stacked, that's like, what, I believe it's 15% extra basic attack damage just railing into you, combined with the CC and damage that Bacchus currently has. It's a lot to try to deal with. Unfortunately, sometimes you just can't do it. Now, luckily it is Elion that goes down there, keeps that man alive, so you're not losing your carry. He gets to stay on the map, stays relevant, keeps on farming. But it just reduces the safety in that lane, and it means Elion's going to have that much harder of a time. He's already 2 levels down on Aurora already.
That does not feel good, especially given the fact of how liable Bacchus can be to snowball. Unfortunately, might be crashing into a wall just now. 4 members in hot pursuit, and this Bacchus is so drunk they don't even know where they are. There are, back in safety at the very least. Gonna be able to drive them off with a nice stellar burst from that soul. A lot of resources and time expended by Scrumptious without too much of a reward. Now Puppy Dog lurking for a bit of a gank of their own. Scrumptious catch quick wind of that and retreat on back. Scrumptious are on a bit of a back end here so far, 7 minutes, 4-3. Cowabunga with a very slight gold lead. What do you think Scrumptious's game plan is? If all were to go ideally for them, how do they expect this game to play out?
Really, all they have to do is hit the mid game at an even point. That's about when Cowabunga's team comp starts losing its biggest advantage, which is the early game aggression. And as long as Scrumptious is relatively even, they can start looking for fights around the Gold Fury. They can look for some more aggressive plays, looking for invades, but they're the ones that are going to be aggressed on here if they're not careful. Anatom, despite his short stint in the base and falling slightly behind as a result, he's still more than eager to step forward and be that front man.
Death does not cure rabies, it would seem, because they are still chomping at the bit. Naga does go down in favor of Cowabunga, so a nice little buff should they decide to take this Fury. But the aggressive posturing is here from Scrumptious instead. They take dominance of the pit and they start it up. Bacchus is not quite like that. Flops on in, finds the intoxication. Good damage there. Susano forces the winds to change, and it's going to be a change of life there for Aurora. Shinto on the killing spree here, the third one for the mid, and now it's going to be Fenrir and Hecate trying to bring it on in and bring this fight back. Brings back one pick for you with the Ragnarok, but it's not quite the one you wanted, especially when Scrumptious are all here. 5-man in force, looking to put the dog down. Sorry, old Yeller, you're going back to base. Zapman with a nice disperse follows it up with some basics to make it 2 kills there, and the Fury is going to be up next.
That's going to be an easy Fury for Scrumptious now, and the simple fact is that Yarkor was still on that left side, but Solo Troll trying to get active here. He's 1v4.
Storm Call could put you in a bit of an issue, especially with that cage not going to save you. To open the gates, not going to find either. Sorry, it's a pillar. And Solar Troll going to go down. Once again, it's just Cowabunga, like a bad action movie, going in 1 versus 1 against Jackie Chan, who's going to just take you down no matter what. You've got to approach in full force if you want to step up. They do, with a response there, at the very least, onto Haddix. So that's 1 kill. Gold Fury does go down, though, in favor of Scrumptious. At the end of the day, Chaos is just fine with that.
Yeah, that is absolutely a trade in favor of Scrumptious. And remind you, it's not just the gold that you get from the Fury anymore, it's also the passive effects that they give you. You're now getting out of base a little bit faster. I say a little bit, you're actually getting out quite a bit faster. Which means you get back on the map, back to farming that much quicker. Maybe trade it out with a tower here. That's the power of the soul, putting the hurt onto the structures. But it doesn't quite even out what Cowabunga lost from that. Gold, still even. Kills, still very even. But it's that little bit of advantage from securing that first Fury that can start to tip the tides in favor of Scrumptious if they can macro well and just take advantage of the quicker access to the camps.
Especially when their gods are so speedy getting out of base already. Look at the Jingwei. Flying high in the sky just to prove my point. Susano as well. Which is an interesting point that you're making there. They're really utilizing those micro aspects of the macro to their name. And we got to see that for the first time there, a rotation from the Odin that Cage unfortunately used defensively. If you're Cowabunga here, what is the ideal means of using the Cage? What's the PEMDAS, the order of operations?
Well, the first thing to do is to not be alone when you drop it. Like this. This is a good order.
Nice. 3 peeps there to back you up, but Athena going to try to even the odds just a little bit with the Defender of Olympus. Grab a Warhorn for yourself. Why not? You're all here to visit. And stay, see the attractions in the solo lane. And that solo lane is going to be vacated now as everyone recognizes not too much kill potential quite just yet. Supports maybe didn't quite get the memo as they decide to rotate on in. But with only a bit of belch, a lot of bluster, not too much actual battle damage quite just yet.
Shouldn't be too much kill potential on this right side. It's mostly 2 tanks. But however, on the left side, Zapman goes down for the first time. Panatom doing his work over there, reminding everyone that he's still present in this game. But I'll take a couple steps back here, D'Lo. Rewind time a little bit and address your concern a little bit more properly. The simple fact of what went wrong around that Gold Fury is that Cowabunga simply didn't group up. Yarkor was in the area, but he stayed on the left side, continued farming. Probably maybe didn't think that he needed to make the full rotation. Perhaps they just didn't think Scrumptious would make the call to commit to that Gold Fury in front of all of them. However, the thinking was, it didn't quite work out, and Cowabunga ended up funneling in a really bad manner. Keep your eyes on this mid lane, though. Might happen again here if they're not careful.
Ooh, Aurora this time gonna take a Temple. Does not pass the field sobriety test, and thus is going to be sent back to the base. Nice kill there by Scrumptious. Just keep that aggression going. Gonna now make the target of their aggressions this Naga, but Cowabunga do not want to let it go down without a fight. They are a bit more grouped up this time, so far more liable to have a favorable look at this objective as they leash it themselves. Scrumptious here, looking to try to find the engage. Uses the Sunder, but does not quite go down their way. Instead, Cowabunga take the life of Elion as well for trade. Evens the kills up 7-7. Cowabunga just happy with that.
Kills are now even, but the gold is starting to lean a little bit in favor of Cowabunga here. They're going to step up, put some pressure on this tower. They're still utilizing their team composition very effectively. Panatom on this Fenrir is very effectively able to force Shinto out of a fight by just dropping a Brutalize on him. And the only thing Shinto can really do about it is try to airstrike away. As if you just use the agility, you're not breaking the dash, you're just taking him with you.
Yep.
And there's a world where you can use that to your advantage if you drag him into the rest of your team, but chances are it's not going to be good for your health bar. Now, 13 minutes in, looking at a second Gold Fury. And wait, what's happening back there?
We're getting a little Chutoid real quick, a nice little lion squish, and it's going to be going down there right afterwards. Zapman already off the count. Now Cowabunga can look to aggress on this Fury this time around. 5 men all grouped up. Cowabunga have answered our prayers, and they return with a nice Fury.
2 Furies down, both now with the move speed out of base. Now we only have 1 more before we start getting into Ancient Fury time. That's a story for another time once we actually get there. Cowabunga has been playing this map very effectively so far, D'Lo. We've seen some stumbles, some odd choices, maybe from Aurora going in a little too aggressively in some places. But the results speak for themselves. We're 14 minutes in. Cowabunga has been extending their gold lead, and they take that Fury without dropping a single person, even picking up a kill for themselves here. And all that Scrumptious can really do is try to counter jungle a little bit, take some farm away. So far, they haven't been able to mount a real offense anywhere aside from just being grouped up at an objective.
14 minutes here. 8-7 in favor of Cowabunga. Gold lead expanding quite explosively. 4,000 to their side as well. I'll tell you a story, my friend Spooks.
Tell me a story.
A story of 4 physical gods on the side of Scrumptious. Something we did not quite notice at the P's and B's, but something that is worth noting is that your only magical damage comes in the form here of Elion, and that Athena's already 0-3, and she's built a defense.
Yeah, it is potentially problematic the later this game goes on. Take a look over at Cowabunga. They also have double magic damage in their backline. It's easier to deal with. It's now Pantom going in, trying to find a bite.
And especially problematic is the health bar of that Fenrir. Panatom has to leap back out and Exer on in with that cage. The nice little bird bomb there. Stomps out Haddix. The gates have been open. Just trying to bring them back all nice and close like Cowabunga. Looking to finish the fight there. Solo Troll finds Zapman as well. They're on a killing spree. And Scrumptious is trying to evade and flee. Sasana using that storm call just to try to get their way on out. Cowabunga starting to really take advantage and make some strides forward with these team fights. They go up without any bodies on their side and return with 2 kills.
Quick and easy 2 for 0. Now they're looking at the Fire Giant. They gotta be careful though. There's still members of Scrumptious in the area. These health bars not looking great, especially for San.
Oh, nice double man taunt there. Still the damage is true onto Elion. Down once again. Their only magical hope. You're gonna have to need a spell or a prayer to get this Fire Giant off. Solar Troll gets shut down there by Sasano. Cowabunga, a bit too big for your britches, man. Bummer.
A little bit of a risky play there, but I mean, sometimes you have to try to take risks. Me personally, I'm probably just taking a step back, resetting, and then going back to the Fire Giant. They had time to work with. Feels like a little bit of an impatient call. Ends up biting them just a little bit as Sot goes down. That's a nice bounty going the way of Scrumptious. It doesn't make up for the deficit they're already in, but it shows that Scrumptious did not want to take a step back and simply roll over as their opposition moves towards these big objectives. With Gold Fury coming up here relatively quickly, you can expect to see both teams shaping up around that area. Getting some vision down on that right side first. See what you can get. Might just do the Fire Giant first.
Yeah, they're just going to try to rip it straight off. Onher's made the rotation through the teleporter, but might be a bit too slow. Bacchus has already sounded the alarm. And now FG started to be whittled down. You have Sunders on lock. We have the Storm Call as well. Silences Odin for not for a long time because Odin's going to take it away. And Paul's going to silence Elion permanently. Killing spree there for the mid, and Bacchus going to try to move on in. Follows that kill for Paul onto Haddix. Yarkor takes down their opposition carry. Warhorn's down, but the horn's being called for retreat. Scrumptious need to get their way on out before they're systematically eliminated. Jingwei is a long cry from home, but she's going to get out. And Susano's got nowhere to go but the hard path back to the fountain. Solar Troll will guide you there. 4 members off for Scrumptious. FG around 5 members for Cowabunga.
So remember how we said that Fire Giant was a little bit ambitious, didn't quite work out in Cowabunga's favor? Just take that and swap the names now. Scrumptious tried to make a play, but they just did not have the numbers advantage or the map advantage to make that aggressive call there. They couldn't burn it down fast enough, and Cowabunga was able to just walk straight on in and steal it away. The zoning wasn't there, and now Scrumptious looking to lose some of their base, maybe a lot of their base, as Cowabunga pushes forward.
Right side bird up for the chopping block. Jinwei slowly winding their way on the back potentially, but at this point the bird's going to go down without too much you can do about it. The gates have been opened, but no skulls have been opened. Just as I say it though, the Solar Troll gets taken out by the bird themselves. You will be able to take it away, so at least one Phoenix goes down. You unfortunately sacrifice your solo along with it.
So the good news is, it's an execute. No gold goes towards Scrumptious. The bad news is, it's an execute, man. Like, why are you just letting Sot tank the tower for that long? Just hit it. Can't be too upset. It does end up going down at the end, but it does give Scrumptious some opportunities on the map. They take down that Gold Fury. That's the second one to their name now. It means those minions going to be a little bit more effective in the lanes, which is very important when you're dealing with the fire minions as well. They're going to be on that right side of the map. However, both objectives down. That means that Cowabunga can kind of just start looking at the remaining tier 2 towers. There's not a whole lot Scrumptious can do on the map. All the camps are down.
There's a
Warhorn. You just have to buckle in, and Warhorn is available. That actually would not be a bad thing for them to pick up right now.
Yeah, boosting up those minions, especially, like you said, you got Winions marching down that right side. Hey, what better thing to do than grab that Warhorn? Let's go, Shock. Shock's been recognizing this Warhorn's value the entire game. Haddix gets it. But you know who's really valuable? Shinto. 4-0 on this Jingwei, and they're going to be whittling down that tier 2 tower on the right side as Cowabunga look for the one in mid.
Nice gold in the pockets of Scrumptious, but it opens up a Phoenix against Cowabunga. This is not a great position to be in. He's lost 2 tier 2 towers for that push alone. This is one of the weaknesses of the Jingwei mid. Yeah, it can scale very well, it pushes well, but you don't have a lot in the way of poke damage. You don't have a lot of burst to try to dissuade Cowabunga from marching in towards you right now. As this 5-man groups, this bird is in danger.
All eyes on the Odin to one, see where the cage falls, and two, see if the Phoenix kills them again. My greatest enemy. It's not even the 5 members that are being piloted by actual players. It's these gosh darn NPCs. Don't let the robots win there, my friend Solo. Value your life, please. Just trying to wait with a bit of poke so far. Already Elion dropped down to half, and here comes the entrance. Bach is trying to find a target with that belt, doesn't quite get it. So Fenrir goes in with the leap themselves, finds a nice little target to drop back on the floor, and now Nog 6 feet under. The airstrike is now you can find a way to land. Nito in trouble. Elion more so gets taken out there by Paul. Aggressive torrent there. Unfortunately, a torrent of damage gonna follow it up. Killing spree for Yarkor. Banatom sweeps up Zapman. And with that, the only one left alive, it's Shinto. Do you want to give up your KD for the cause? The defense would go absolutely crazy, but Fenrir will not let you. This dog's absolutely mad. As now Shinto tries to put up a last defense. It's unfortunately not gonna work. Shut down by Solo Troll. With that, scrunches his chance to move on or shut down too. Cowabunga, take it.
Cowabunga has just been so dominant through these tourneys so far here, D'Lo. They have been unstoppable. They know what kind of game they're playing, and they are just executing it so well every time. You've got to watch out for this early game aggression that they put in, because once they get this ball rolling, they simply do not stop. They just keep building up more and more. It was a even game in kills, D'Lo. It was neck and neck. But who had the gold advantage? Cowabunga. How big was it? 4,000. Where did that come from? Simply play on the map. Their farming is excellent. It really feels like every team needs to be so aware of where they're positioned and where they're traveling if they want to have a chance against Cowabunga.
Cowabunga, man, proving why they were the victors of that Week 1 Smite Prime tourney. They're looking to repeat history once again, but that's okay. Don't you dare go anywhere. More Smite Prime action coming for you after the break.
Welcome back once again, everybody, to Smite Prime. Going into round number 3 here as we take Mr. Play-by-Play up against PPP. Spooky Mars here to take you through this one, and I'm joined by none other than the Blaze McBain himself. Blaze, last game we saw some SPL talent going up against each other, and it was a delight to watch. This game, we're going one step lower. We've got some SCC talent coming up against each other. How are you feeling?
Dude, it's SEC with like a sprinkle of SPL. And that's kind of what I love to see, because usually some of these like SEC players come up with some crazy builds or some crazy comps they want to do. Obviously, we're a little bit limited in Smite 2 with the God Pool, but that doesn't mean you can't get a little crazy. You can't do something a little wild in a best of one here. And I'm just excited. We have layers in Erupt Crimson on one team, and I think that's exciting. 2 really aggressive players. On the other side, we have Burroni and company. I think it's going to be a really, really fun game to watch here.
We've already got our bans in place. Susano and Jingwei taken off the board. This does leave that Bacchus up, who's been hotly contested throughout Smite 2's lifetime, but it's Ymir who gets looked at instead. Blaze, talk to me about the priority of the Ymir over this Bacchus, and what do you think PvP is going to be doing?
So I think it comes down to your comfortability of what you're wanting to do. Obviously, I think Bacchus brings a lot to the team when you can just chug and probably proc auto somebody while you're a full tank. I think that just feels really, really good. But Ymir brings the CC. He brings the ability to throw up a wall and be in the way. And when you get that over just the flop knockup or the engage that way, as long as the intoxicate, I think Ymir feels a little bit better, especially when you get Ymir and Bacchus. If you get both, surely it's good.
So PvP opts to take their backline, Soul and Neath, locked in. 2, well, one's a basic attack mage, one's an ability hunter. We don't use those anymore. But how valuable do you think it is to lock these 2 in when things like the Bacchus and the Fenrir are open? Because right now, this already looks very risky for PPP's backline.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I mean, obviously, I think Soul has the ability to do some crazy things 1v1, 1v2,
Right, right.
1v3, and so forth. I think just the amount of healing you can build on Soul, I think she's probably the best ADC in the game. I don't think it's close. I think she's very, very good. To separate feels good, especially into Finra, Bacchus, Ymir. Neath obviously can still do orbital strike things and go, hey, I'm going to build Bo-Katoth, I'm going to build Transcendence, and I'm going to hit you from across the map, and it's going to hurt. So I do
Mhm.
think you have some good carries here. They do have this comfortability of being able to get out. Neath can backflip over walls. Soul has this disapparate. But I am concerned when I see Ymir, who can slow you down, Bacchus, who can, intoxicate your team and do some work, and then the Fenrir. Fenrir, once Sasano is taken off the board, Fenrir does a lot of things really, really well.
Yeah.
And one of those things he does really well is killing carries.
And do have an Ares locked in on the opposite side here. And to me, this Ares is going to be very important. Those shackles have to be on point because if you can land the chains on this Fenrir, on this Bacchus, it does take a lot of their engagement away from them, right? Or if you catch them as they go in, their disengagement. If you can stop Brutalize and Unleash, that feels good for your team. Problem is, how reliable is that really? It's a narrow skill shot. You can hit 3 of them, but can you actually hit all 3 of those on the targets that you need to hit them on?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on Ares right now. Ares has to be play at a very optimal level here and almost have the performance of maybe this side of the bracket. I mean, really and truly, you're going to have to shut down this Fenrir. I'm not even as concerned about the Bacchus. The abilities of you just limit Fenrir to one ability, which is howling, is pivotal.
Woo!
Yeah, you go, cool. He can howl at me. I mean, surely Ares has to be the pivotal part of this team in shutting down the Fenrir. Obviously, there's some things about Bacchus that you want to shut down too, getting rid of that leap. But Bacchus also has the displacement immunity within that burp, so he's not going to get pulled during ult if it's timed right. On this
Right.
other side, though, we do see Kernanos picked up. We see the Morgan locked in here. And, I always love to see the Morgan offers a variety of different types of play. And if there's somebody you like on the other team, like maybe a Soul Neath or Ares or Odin, you just take them for your team and run it down.
Loki also being locked in here. I don't think we've seen too much of Loki. I think we saw a mid Loki one time in the tournament so far, and other than that, not a whole lot of presence. Before we get to this Loki pick here, we see the full drafts. This Morgan has a lot of options right now, Blaze. But who are you expecting to find the most value from?
Oh boy, it comes down to a few things. I think you're gonna probably ult into Fenrir in a good
Mhm.
portion of this. I think that feels really really good. The double Fenrirs, but I also look and like if Odin has a lead and Odin's or at least even picking up the Odin and throwing down the cage along with Bacchus Ymir, and then you have Kernanos there and just giving that just lockdown area with everything else you have going on feels really really good. Obviously, we could all talk about let's go into Ares, let's have the no escape. That feels okay. But I'm looking more towards like Fenrir, possibly Odin. There are some like maybe niche scenarios where you go into Soul. I don't think you're picking Loki at all,
Right.
if I had to take a guess.
That would be an interesting choice. I suppose there's a world where you turn into Loki if you're trying to just get out of dodge, turn invisible, maybe ult away. But hopefully you're not burning the ultimate for that. We've got a Ymir and a Bacchus on Mr. Play by Play. We've seen both of these go solo. We've seen both of them go support. Which one are you expecting? Which one do you think feels better?
If I have to guess, I'm thinking Ymir's probably going solo. Bluestone Hydros feels really, really good. I've seen a lot of it. Obviously, there's other options there. I think he does really well with Phoenix Shield and things of that nature. Bacchus, I think, just feels better in support. You can build him as tanky as you want. He's still going to get the chug auto, and it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
On the other side, I don't think it's any question it's going to be Odin solo, Ares support. I'd actually be shocked if it's flip flopped.
I would be a little bit annoyed if it was flip flopped, I think. I don't think Ares would really enjoy that either. It doesn't exactly
No.
play well into the instant freeze from Ymir. But this Odin into the Ymir, I've seen that happen a few times. I've played that matchup myself a couple times. Can't say I'm a big fan of it as the Odin. What are your thoughts on that lane?
Oh my god. Hope is freeze it down to stay away. I think that's what you have to go with. It's not a fun matchup early. I think if you get to level 8 through 10, you're probably feeling a little bit better about it. But those first 5 minutes are going to be rough.
Well, we'll see how those first 5 minutes play out as we hop into the game itself. Let's get the action on the board and see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a potential for some really interesting things here. I'm focused here on layers and Crim working together between jungle mid. I think that is a pivotal part of Mr. Play-by-Play because they will be making the plays by the plays. But on the other side here, we've talked about it. I think Moods has a very hefty responsibility of shackling people down, especially layers.
I'm going to see some grouping from both sides here. However, it's on opposite sides of the map, so may not be finding any collisions in the jungle, but I still like seeing this kind of grouping up from both sides. It shows you that they're both aware of this current meta where these invades just keep coming out. 2 Sunders on both sides. Are we just seeing like a buff pass?
I love this. I love that it's a 5-man grouping, but they're not going to see each other because they're just on opposite sides of the map, quite literally. It looks like they're all aware of it now. Let's see how they decide to play it out. It looks like they're probably all just going to run back, but look at where Moods is. Moods is chilling at the blue and red buff over there, maybe looking to make a little bit of a play.
I would not hate to see it. If he can steal something away, could be incredibly beneficial for them. Stealing away the blue buff from this Ymir could be pretty impactful. How reliant do you think he is, or I'm sorry, on the Bacchus, as Bacchus is the one drifting over to the side?
Yeah, they both build selflessness, so I'm amazed right now. I did not expect this. But, I mean, Bacchus is going to feel okay. I do like the Ymir matchup better into the Odin, but Ares picks up a free red buff, and that feels pretty good early on in the game, and that might be something to watch out for here early.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to run into an Ares with a red buff. No point in the game. He's already known for dealing good amounts of damage alone. He's able to push Crim away from that mid lane. Has to sacrifice some time farming. Meanwhile, all the way on this right side, now that things have shifted up a little bit, honestly, I feel a lot better for Heed against this Bacchus than I did against the Ymir.
Oh, 100%. I think you walk into lane and you're against a Bacchus and you're like, oh, sick. This feels way better to me. I'm allowed to play the game. I mean, that has to be part of the conversation that you're looking at, because if it's Ymir over there, you're in for a bad time. But it looks like we're going to get some activity on both sides of the map here.
So far, aggression on the left side pushes Golden back into the tower. However, not able to line up that freeze, so not going to have any kill potential there. In the mid lane, though, you see Fenrir coming in. But still, there's a lot of ganks. No kills just yet. This could be the one that turns it around. Snatty goes down as Pilot makes the rotation. And aggression in 3 lanes. You get the first blood into the right.
Yeah, Pilot just hops right into the pilot seat and says, you know, we need the first blood. Let's get online here early. And really and truly, that feels really good if you're Loki, because I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of sold Loki short here. I feel like there's a possibility of him being able to run the game, but it's, in my opinion, very little. I feel like when you get to a certain level of play, Loki is just generally not as effective. But I like what he did there. He kind of hung out and made sure he could confirm the kill with his solo laner. And he's still, you know, going to be active here, maybe over in duo soon enough.
That makes the teleport all the way over. And this is a great position to be in. Pops the invisibility, still has not been seen on this map. Now he's right with the minion wave. Health bars looking low. He goes on in. Kurnos goes down. Pringles falls quickly, and Monster B follows. In an instant, this Loki comes in, pilots himself towards a double kill, keeps both duo laners alive.
Dude, Pilot hopped into the driver's seat and said, come on in, guys. I am going to carry you through the early game and make sure not only does he pick up the kills there, but he goes through and just says, hey, I'm going to save your life as well. Tell me how many times, Spooky, that you have had a Loki on your team where they've come through and happened to save you.
Okay, so Blaze, I feel like you're calling me out right now because I do play in low elo. I'm a bad player. So it does happen more than not because I'm out of position and Lokis like to come in and kill the people. So it happens to me a lot.
Well, I'm also in the low elo queues at the moment, and my Lokis like to just run circles around the map and farm. So we are having drastically different experiences. But I know what you're talking about. I get it. They do show up from time to time, but to save a double kill is pretty sick. Another fight busting out here. Odin Cage has been dropped down.
Yeah, that's going to be enough to get the kill, too. Baroneri drops the ult from long range, picks it up for himself. Now 4 kills go the way of PPP. Mr. Play-by-Play, off to a slow start here, Blaze. We're already almost 4 minutes into the game. Goldly is starting to rack up just a little bit in favor of PPP. 1,500 to their name right now. Gotta be something that Play-by-Play is aware of, and it really feels like it comes down to keeping track of this Loki.
Yeah, I think they need to get some wards out. Also, I mean, the Morgan does take a little bit of time to get online. I'm not too surprised by Crim not being super active right now, really focusing on farm. Is, you know, coming around to make a rotation to poke out some damage, but not heavily committing to a fight. I'm a little bit surprised that Layers hasn't been more active here, just because seeing Layers in Smite 1 very, very active, and as I say that, rotating over to the solo lane.
He's on his way, looking over here, trying to find the kill onto Heed, but Crim is the one who gets it with the transformation into Baroneri. I mean, that feels good for Crim. Hey, you get the kill, right?
I mean, yeah, I just want to know, like, what was it called in comms, or is this just like, hey, they rotated over and you trolled Layers out of a kill? I'm really curious because, like, it was committed, like it was going to happen, that the death was going to be taken, but just so funny that it hits last minute right before the auto confirms the kill there. But, I mean, really and truly, get Crim online faster. This Morgan, the sooner you get her into the late game phase, the better it's going to feel here. And, you know, you're getting cooldown online, hopefully. And when that happens, guess what? You're going to be able to ult a little bit more. I already like the Book of Toth pickup. We'll have to see what that goes from here. But watch out, Loki's back in the mid lane.
Yeah, Violet just going to keep on making the rotations over. Isn't quite able to find Crim on this one. Stealth for stealth. Gets one back out. I want to take a look over here at the builds. Layers. I've seen the Devourer's Gauntlets being picked up on this Fenrir a few times. This one is a new one. This one looks like a Transcendence to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate Transcendence early. I'm a little bit surprised by it. I think Devos feels really, really good on Fenrir. I'm a big fan of Teko Kage early just for that movement speed. But there are a lot of options. I feel like Reaper, another really good item on Fenrir. But I think picking up the Transcendence here, you know, slowly but surely get into a power spike is going to feel good as you transition through this game. I'm curious what's going to come second item. But I'm also looking at Fenrir and going, okay, are you going to build Brawlers? Or are you going to leave that to the responsibility of someone else? I don't know that a lot of people know right now with Brawlers now being auto-attack based and ability based, it feels really good if you need some anti-heal.
Listen, I have one golden rule when it comes to anti-heal. If you ain't building it, neither am I. All right? So someone else better start building the anti-heal if they want to see it picked up here. Otherwise, I'm not so sure we're going to see it. Meanwhile, Pilot on that left side trying to find some aggression into Mr. Play-by-Play, who now do have their first kill on the board. Still, fairly quiet game overall.
Yeah, and I think this is good by Mr. Play-by-Play. Not only do they pick up a kill, but they also slowed down that gold lead that was slowly matriculating towards PPP here, because they were doing a good job at just farming up. But now it's a fight over in the dual lane.
Yeah, Vendor goes on in, Layers drags one back, and Golden goes down in an instant. Not able to return the last bit of damage it would take to put Monster B back down. And they're all just going to get to walk back out. Mr. Play-by-Play picks up a second kill to their name, and they're coming back into this game feeling good.
Yeah, I was going to say they should be mad that they didn't get to pick up Monster B there, but earlier they got out with 2 people that were that low, so I mean, they can't be really mad. Karma has to come back around at some point. Meanwhile, the solo laners still playing Slapfest over here, one with the jug and one with a spear? Sorry, I thought for a second, I was like, is it something else? And I almost like resulted to like Sung Wukong and calling it a cudgel. I'm like, that is not right, brain.
That is
not right at all. But I do like what we see from Monster B here, already getting healing for the team up with the mushroom. But it's a Gold Fury pull here by PPP, and we're waiting for the response.
Here is the response. Monster B comes on in, but moves the one secures it. Monster B has to be careful not to get too aggressive. Pilot drops the ult just to get back out. No assassinations coming through now. They're not going to need it because they just assassinated the Gold Fury.
Actually a little bit surprised. I wonder if Wall was down there. I think you might have been able to snag one of those kills off of that, but a really good play by PPP here to go ahead and grab a Gold Fury. As you mentioned during the first game we watched, I mean, that movement speed is pretty relevant, Spooky, because it's going to allow you to get back to lane faster, rotate faster out of the base, and overall just feels good. And then, you know, next time around you pick up another one, we're talking about empowered minions, and slowly but surely that kind of starts helping you push a lead.
So next Fury, gonna be very important for both sides here. Obviously, PPP wants to stack that up, but meanwhile, Bede's being forced out from Baronary in the mid lane. It's like they're just gonna take a step back. Lair's not able to continue under the tower. There's still a small advantage that has been gained for Mr. Play-by-Play. Baronary's Bees being down means they have some opportunities to play through this mid lane. Question is, how frequently are we going to see that? Are we going to see some extra pressure put towards this team? What?
Hey, there it is.
There it is. Just transform again, make another Fender on the map, and put him down. Grim gets the kill for that one. Oh, I'm sorry. It goes to Layers. They returned it.
Yeah, Layers got payback for earlier, but, you know, I mean, this is what I talked about. Being able to get beads off somebody. Guess what? You can ult into Fenrir, and now you get to get the kill that you thought was going to get away. Not this time. And if you start talking about this later in the game, I mean, if you get beads off of Neath, you get beads off of Soul, then you start looking at maybe ulting into this Ares pick and pulling multiple targets. I think this is a really interesting play here. I love what Crim and Layers are doing. And again, this is what I was hoping to see, is those two start putting pressure in the mid lane and then be able to spread it outwards. Obviously, they're a bit behind in gold. They do have to figure that out. PPP have done a great job here as a fight under the tower is happening between the solo laners, but towers aren't threatening as of yet.
Pilot in some danger, has to use the assassinate to get out of danger. Still, Layers on the hunt, looking for anything he can steal away, knowing the jungler isn't here, goes for the blue buff. The wall comes in, heat, and now he's in a bad spot. Here comes Crim, returning the favor. Hello, my friends. You can throw up the shield, but it's not to keep you alive for long. Pilot comes back, trying to return the damage. He has to pull back out. Tries to retreat. He's got to be careful, though. Look who's chasing him. Snatty, still on the hunt.
Yeah, Snatty wants to kill the Loki for earlier, I think. It's his payback at this point. The blink out will save the life, but I mean, that's a 4-minute cooldown, and that is completely worth it in my opinion. Yeah, you don't get the kill, but it's a full TKO, and you get a blink out of him. So that is a dub overall. But you do have to be a little bit careful here if you're Snatty, because Ares is on the way. You know, Moods might be in a little bit of mood, might be feeling some sort of way about how that just went down. And it looks like a protection of the Warhorn is the move here for PPP.
The move for Moods. But you know what? I want to talk about something here real fast, Blaze. I want to talk about Devourer's Gauntlets, because you know, we've mentioned it's a great item. It is currently on 4 people in this game, including Pilot and Layers, who opted to start for the Transcendence. That second item you were so curious about, there it is. It's the Dev Gloves.
Yeah, I mean, devs, it's the Shifter Shield of Smite too, for everybody that remembers the Shifter Shield meta in Smite 1 just a month or 2 back. I mean, Devourer's Gauntlet just feels really good. And I mean, if you look at the lifesteal items right now, especially for physicals, in my opinion, like, you're kind of limited. Like, you either are going to go Devos, or I really like Reaper if you're going for that aggressive style of play. But Devos is more consistent and doesn't allow you to be so aggressive, play a little bit more passive, as another fight breaks out here with a no escape.
For it, but gets beads out by both members. Mir drops the ult. Now Crim and Fender going on in. They're gonna find someone, and it's Moods they're looking at. The shackles come through, but you're chained to them, not the other way around. Stepping on forward comes I'm So Pringles, just pushing Golden back out of the fight, giving Mr. Play-by-Play the opportunity to pull back towards this Fury. Gotta be careful. Pilot in the area. Baronary are lurking around the wall. Keep your eyes on that left side as well. 2 more members coming on in. It's Heed and Snatty looking to try to make an entrance to the game. Fury goes down. Matcha B secures it. Ring dropped onto Pringles, and now Snatty's locked in with him. Health is falling low, dashes forward, but it's only towards Heed. And Baronary puts him down, finds the work. Soul goes into the immunity, but Golden can't stay golden forever. But he has found just enough time to get himself out of danger as Snatty falls down. PPP find 3 more kills. They lose the Fury, but they got something out of it.
The amount of layers to that fight just now was absolutely insane. We have Fenrir's galore running it down by Mr. Play-by-Play. It looks like they're going to, get the fight and get the Fury. They get one. They get the Fury. It turns around. And then PPP goes, hey, remember how you were tanking the Fury for a little bit too long? Yeah, you're going to have to pay the price for that so we can keep our gold lead. And they run it down with Heed for speed over from the solo lane, just coming over and making sure his team can take that victory. And overall, I love it. It's the back and forth play. We talked about, in SCC, this is the kind of thing I really enjoy watching because it's so back and forth sometimes. And sometimes things are just a little bit different than what you'd expect. I mean, we talked about it. Snatty going over here with the Bacchus solo and Monster B picking up the Ymir support. It's not what we thought it was going to be, but man, is it enjoyable.
Now, so far, it's been a close game. PvP definitely holding an advantage in it. Of about 3,000 gold and 2 kills up. But you couldn't tell by just the way the map is being played out right now. You can't see how much of an effect is being had because both teams are still so willing to step forward and fight into each other right now. And look at this, play-by-play. Looking at Heed, he made an entrance on the left side. Now they're looking to make an entrance on the right side. Stun is good, jump comes through, but the Ring of Spears are dropped only for to be dropped to the jaws of Fenrir. Damage, though it isn't enough. Here comes Mood to put some damage back out, help his solo laner. No Escape pulls one in. And somehow, this fight is completely turned around. Heed is just too tanky to be taken down.
I love this because, generally we see a ton of kills where oh, it's an arena game. No, this is like an arena game, but no one's getting the kills. It is fight for fight for fight. And, cool, a Gold Fury drops for either team at this point in the game, 15 minutes in. But, all the towers still stand. And they are just going over and fighting in these lanes to their heart's content and having an absolute blast doing it. And you love to see it. Overall, I mean, I think that was a really good play by Layers. It looked like you're going to be able to pick up Heed. A great rotation out of Moods, shuts it down, and just, set the mood for his team over there in the solo lane.
Now, I want to take a couple steps back here real fast and address an earlier point. Because with that failed gank, I feel it might be relevant. Layers' decision to go for Devourer's Gauntlet as a second item, rather than this Hydra's Lament that he picked up just now as third.
Yep.
Do you feel that he's sacrificed too much damage in this mid game?
So I think there's a part of it to think about on either side. We do have a Fire Giant fight breaking out, so I don't want to get too far into that, as Monster B does get the fire, and a fight ensues now.
Spear comes down. Heed has trapped 2 members in, and the health bars are disappearing. Crim instantly evaporates. Now look at Monster B. You secured the Fire Giant, but now that's going to cure your health bar. Gonna be all they find there. 5-man stacked takes 2 Fire Giants off of Mr. Play-by-Play.
So here's the thing. Fantastic rotation in by PPP yet again. Cool, you get the objective, we're gonna finish the fight. That is how this game has gone so far. Yes, they got the first Gold Fury, but after that, it's been Mr. Play-by-Play making plays on objectives. Oh my goodness, the Bacchus damage out of Snatty. Layers goes in and gets a kill. Has to feel pretty good here, Spooky.
Looking very good. Layers for a little bit more, but there's 3 members here. Drops the Howl. Not going to commit further. However, he does have Snatty going on in as well. And take a step back after that one. Maybe I'm So Pringle's slightly misplaced ult there slows down some of that aggression.
Yeah, just a little bit, but Heed's there, dude. Heed must play Need for Speed on the side. It has to be. Heed is running all over the map on this Odin, jumps in, and now looking for Snatty. As it's a redemption arc, but look at this. It's a Gold Fury pull. Gold Fury gets taken and taken away.
Snatty in some trouble here, but it's PPP who are on the back foot, trying to find a way back out. Wall comes up, stops the chase, but Moot has found 3. Beats actually come out from that one. I'm surprised. Moot's gonna go down. Pringles stays alive. Now the aggression could come in from Mr. Play-by-Play, but Prim's gone down as well. Pilot doing his job to take out these high priority targets. Bad spot now, frozen down, and Pringles finds another kill for himself.
This is a great play by Mr. Play-by-Play because they have now finally taken objective and won the fight, so you get that little bit of momentum. Yes, they're down in gold, but I think they needed that for the mental, just to get a little bit of something out of this, because each time they go in, and now they're going to find more, Baron Ares in trouble, and Layers picks up a kill and make it a double.
Unfortunately, PPP is just funneling into this one. Here comes Heed, but he's one man against four. All he can do is drop the cage and walk out. Try to slow Mr. Play-by-Play down just a little bit, but there's the mushroom. He's gonna keep him topped off for the next push here.
Yeah, they're doing their best preview of Mario Brothers. They got the one-up shroom, and it's ready to go. But, you know, to your previous point, does Layers have enough damage? I think he does. He's 6-0-3 now and showing why that Hydras feels really, really good. But I'm with you. I kind of like to see Devos, then Hydras, and then maybe I think you stack the Transcendent fast enough. But you have to get that lifesteal, or else he wouldn't be surviving some of these fights. But this game now has become, we're going to fight, 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 and it's continued on. It's tied up 10-10, and they are chasing down Layers on the solo side.
Tied up 10-10, but the gold lead has shifted. Ult for ult to avoid. No, it does not avoid the World Weaver, but it gets him enough move speed to get clear of the follow-up stun from Heed. He gets to survive. Meanwhile, Krim finds a kill for himself, transforming into Pilot, which I think was the one we weren't expecting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I really wasn't. I mean, if it's a 1v1, it makes sense. You get to execute just to run them down. But really and truly, I don't think you find much value out of the Loki beyond a 1v1. I'd love to see it there. Krim showing off why the Morgan's so good and why it's good to be good at so many different gods. And I'm loving the build. We have a Book of Toth, we have the Doom Orb. Overall, you're going to be moving. You get those mana stacked up. You're going to be hitting hard. I think it has to feel good here for Krim, just overall.
I'm such a Gemma-focused enjoyer. I love seeing this one get picked up. Loved it in Smite 1, loved it its own standalone item in Smite 2. Natty maybe doesn't love the attention he's getting over here on the right side of the map. He's gonna keep on fighting his way through it. Drops the ulti, gets stunned down, might be able to turn it around. No, not enough damage. Pilot puts him back down, but keep your eyes peeled on the dual lane coming in. Pilot gonna reset all the way back in that bush. Should be fine for now. He got a lot of attention. No escape. Gets dropped. The wall comes up, and he cannot get anywhere. That's gonna be the end of that.
I was looking forward to a sick Hexstone no escape play. I was like, oh my god, we're gonna get it, and then no one got pulled. So unfortunate. Hexstone will not be in the game any longer as of Tuesday. Sad times, but we will forever remember being able to turn into a boar and run people down.
I mean, me personally, I turn into a boar like every Tuesday. But meanwhile, this has turned into a fight in the right side. Not be too many kills coming through. Golden on that left side, pushing down, trying to just get some gold back in the pockets of PPP. So far, this game has slipped away from Triple P here. With the grouping on this right side, you can just tell they're sniffing around for the next fire giant that's going to spawn up here.
Yeah, and they might have overstayed their welcome from the looks of it.
Fenrir gets on out, but Monster B all the way in the back in the ring of spears. He's going to be gone with the wolves. Odin looking for just a little bit more. Stun connects onto Pringles. Dashes away. Now this might be the turnaround here. Mr. Play-by-Play has multiple members in the area. PPP, have to be careful not to step too far forward. The pull is good though, and Snatty might be in trouble now. Stun comes in, health bar falling down low, but now he gets stunned under the tower with a belt. It might not be enough. They finally get the kill. The Layers comes in from over the wall. Doesn't get the last hit, but the tower sure does. Moose goes down.
Can we talk about the fact that he burped in prediction of the Odin jump in front of him to stun him under the tower? Because that was super sick. It didn't result in a kill, but it was a really, really cool play there. And Layers, now 7-0-3, jumped back in at the perfect time, able to secure a kill with the help of the tower, and he's going to scare them off. with I'm So Pringles of this Fire Giant. And I'm really surprised here because I think they could have committed and it got another kill out of it. You know, try to force at least a smidge, but they go, no, we don't want to give up anything. So Gold Fury has spawned. It's something to watch out for. Does Mr. Play-by-Play decide to go that route over Fire Giant?
I mean, it would be their third Gold Fury. I do believe it would be the Ancient Fury coming up as well. That could be an incredibly impactful one. The PPP, they're in position around this Fire Giant. They want to take the objective, and they want to take the fight that comes up for them. Freeze is good, Wall is even better, but Krim goes down to Golden in an instant. And that is the numbers advantage for Triple P here. Looking at another one, Layers getting caught and aggressed upon. No Escape pulls one down as Heed is just putting up a wall in front of everyone's face, not allowing Pringles to move forward, driving two off as the fight goes disastrous for Play-by-Play in the back. All at once, 3 go down, and the Fire Giant looking mighty tasty for PPP.
Yeah, Heed really came up with a lot of value there, and PPP have finally figured it out. They're like, hey, if we kill Krim, we don't have to deal with 2 doggos. And 1 doggo is a lot easier to deal with than 2. So they finally just started killing Krim. You find Krim, get rid of him, and it's allowing them to now take these team fights with the 5v4, but also just not have to worry about that transformation. Obviously, Mr. Play-by-Player over on the Gold Fury side, they're going to pick this up. It's a worthy trade, but PPP are the winners of that fight and just of the objective exchange as well, in my opinion. Fire Giant's going to feel really good here, but look who's over here. Pilot looking to make a move.
Looks like he decided that how far was a little too low for him. Take a step back, disengage from that one entirely. But now, Blaze, this game has been so back and forth. I mean, Mr. Play-by-Play was up, now they're down, only about 1,000 gold. But PPP are the ones with the Fire Giant. You gotta wonder where this game goes next. Oh, with the Towers and Phoenixes disabled on the side of PPP for the next, I believe, 120 seconds. Mr. Play-by-Play, they have to choose if they want to be aggressive here. It looks like PPP is going to make the call for them. Who cares if your towers are disabled? Just don't let the enemy near them.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Mr. Play-by-Play had to be careful here. They haven't really had a full 5-stack fight, except for one time, and they've really been playing outnumbered in these fights. They're getting picked early, and then it changes into 5v4, and they just can't handle it. So I think if Mr. Play-by-Play go the route of we're going to group as 5 and take a fight, they have a much better chance at winning it, A. But B, I think they can win it based off their comp, but they have to be grouped as 5. They can't be having one person getting picked. They got to figure it out.
You got to be keeping track of Heed here, not letting him do whatever he wants. Bender goes in, Layers picks him up, but Pilot instantly assassinates Krim. And now it's just like you said, a 4v5 on Phoenix lines. There's still 2 tier 2s up in mid and right side. We're on the left side. We're looking to take some of this base down with the Fire Giant around all 5.
I mean, yeah, they got the tier 2 in left. They're getting a tier 2 in mid, and they're going to come away with the Phoenix. I don't think they can be stopped here at this point. They got Krim again, and that's who they wanted. They don't have to worry about the transformation, and now the fight ensues because he drops the cage onto the Phoenix.
Must be extremely low and taken down by Heed, who's just walling off 2 people. He doesn't care about his health bar. He trusts his team, and they're going to surge forward as the Phoenix crumbles before them. Heed somehow still alive as Layers gets shut down. Who needs a second Phoenix, though? We're looking at the Titan, and Pringles is just trying to drive Pilot away. He knows he cannot survive this 1v5, and that's gonna be the game. Mr. Play-by-Play fought, but they lost, and PPP take it.
What a impressive game by Pilot and by Heed. I don't want to take anything away from Pilot because that was immaculate
Yes.
Loki gameplay. I mean, really at this level, we don't get to see that too often. Usually Loki gets picked and you know where he's at a lot of the time. And he might get a couple cool kills here and there, but going 7, 2, and 10 is really impressive. But we have to highlight Heed here. Heed did a fantastic job setting up these cages, setting up kills, peeling for the team, and it just has to feel good when your Odin is doing that much for your entire team.
And he does so much without really having to do all that much. He just takes a step forward, says, hey guys, you don't get to play here anymore. Mr. Play-by-Play will not be continuing forward, but PPP sure will. And right after the break, we'll see more Smite Prime, so stay tuned.
guess they'll never learn. Every time I break, there's just more pain to burn. They'll never, never, never learn.
All the admin scenes behind the curtain. Blaze, how we feeling?
Dude, I'm just excited to watch some more Smite here, and we're just slowly but surely working our way to those finals. We're in the semifinals now, and I expect this game to be absolute fire. We have some Bakers on one side and some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles maybe on the other. I'm not too sure. Maybe that's why they're cowabungaing, but the first thing we're going to see banned away here is the Neath.
Consistent here from the last time we saw Cowabunga grace us on the stream, and they're going to be banning away that Fenrir pick. Makes sense. Awfully scary on Banatom, but you know what? It's not going to stop him from still trying to run this game. Susano is that first draft pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Sasano's open, you kind of just have to take it. It's that or the Jingwei. We see those the top two picks here. But Sasano is a scary, scary time. I mean, he just kind of just gets in there, destroys you, sends you to the Grayscene, and then somehow gets to walk away scotch-free a lot of the time. We'll have to see if Cowabunga can make that happen here. The Bakery pick up Jingwei and Bacchus, and both of those gods have been so strong as of late. I'm curious to see what is Cowabunga's plan to deal with both of them.
What I like already is that, hey, you can ride the winds from Susano, that Typhoon knocks you up, and I dash away. Also, if they decide to try to go for that Odin lockdown composition, which it seems that indeed we will, you already have a Bacchus sleep to at least get one member out of the cage. So that's a nice way to already counter it. They saw maybe the game tape from before when Cowabunga took down Scrumptious, and they're trying to learn from those mistakes. Hecate, though, makes a return, and that means if you try to escape that cage, you might just get pulled right back in.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, and we've seen Paul play this Hecate multiple times, and it's kind of just popped off most of those times. It's Paul doing Paul things, as we saw earlier on during the Smite Prime tournament tonight. When you compare that and have the Odin and the Sasano together against Jingwei Bacchus, you have so much area control. It's feeling pretty good here for Cowabunga. The Bakery left with some decisions on, who's the other tank do we want to draft? Do we want to grab our jungler here with Thanatos and Loki up? Obviously, there's a lot of options, but I think you have to prioritize a little bit to make Cowabunga think about how they want to counter with their last two picks when you head into your final.
I'm honestly just thinking of a way to try to dislodge that jungle pressure a little bit. Something that can put a stop to Susano shenanigans. Because it's really been rough to see Banatom just at will rotates with such fluidity and ease across the map. And Susano's such a great god to enable it. Soul is a great god to enable some aggression, taking that tool away from your core, and now Cowabunga must face up against the exact same dual lane we saw them take the W with before.
Yeah, I have seen this Jingwei Soul comp multiple times, and I feel like when you get Jingwei and Soul together, they tend to win. Now, I'm going to say 10-2 because you're playing into Cowabunga, who I think is a very, very good team. And it's the Loki pickup here. So they're going to hold off on who their other tank needs to be, which is a little bit surprising with the Weimer Dimer still on the board. I figured that might be an obvious pickup here, just being able to shut down some of the movement that they have and also just getting that freeze. But Cowabunga now left with, do we want the Weimer? Do we want to go the chalk route? Or, maybe something else they feel good about in support. But it could be Odin support. I'm not going to take that away from them. I just think it's most likely Odin solo.
Yes! Ymir is here, and on the Cowabunga side, walls upon walls upon walls. We got the bakers, and then we got the construction workers here. Sir Nunos going to be that final pick to round it out in that dual lane.
Yeah, you know what bakers don't like, D'Lo?
Tell me.
Being frozen, because you want to be able
True?
to cook and you can't. Because it just gets frozen. It's not going to be a good time here. The Weimer is going to be hitting people with the hammer. Ymir just does those type of things. Kurtanos going along with the rest of that area of control comp. This has to feel really, really good here for Cowabunga. It's a last pick Bologna on the side of the Bakery. I'm curious to see how they decide to control this pick. I've seen it done a lot of different ways. I've seen most of these people that pick up Bologna going a full damage route. I don't think that's going to be the option here, but obviously that could be the route they want to take.
The bakery all have ways out of the cage as long as your diamonds are full. Diamonds are the baker's best friend. The question is, will you have them on deck when that cage drops? And then again, do you want to be using them defensively all the time? Because then how are you going to put Cowabunga back in the gray screen? So we're looking at these comps here. The Bakery, they're obviously stepping up against a very potent foe. What do we think is their game plan looking at their comp?
Dude, I think I look at the Bakery and I'm like, okay, they have a lot of single target damage. They are going to be good at picking someone off if they can find them. The problem is, I look over at Cowabunga and they have one person that can do that. It's Sasano. And like, it's just going to run in, kill whoever they want to kill, and then run away. And then they have area of control for everybody else.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really hard time for Bakery to be able to get in there. They're going to have to be very mindful of the fights they want to take here and how they want to control them. They need to find a way to get picks and not necessarily take a whole entire team fight, I think, with their current comp.
They need to be very mindful, very demure as well. Sasano being that single target damage god, as you mentioned, does beg the question then, who on the Bakery needs to be taken out first if you're Cowabunga?
You know, I'm opted to say Loki after last game,
Aha.
but different teams. I'm going to say Donut Doug has to be on the menu here because he is going to bake his way to some crit, and he's going to be hitting pretty hard here on the Jingwei. So I do think it's something you have to watch out for if you're Cowabunga. If this Jingwei gets online, it starts running it down a little bit. Soul becomes a lot easier to play, and vice versa. So you do have to watch out for these carries of the Baker. They will be baking their ways to victory if they can. But Cowabunga have a great way to control that aggression if it goes that route.
It's all about letting the heat build up. If you can't take that heat, you should stay out of the kitchen, and Soul's trying to get them to that point. Spooky mentioned it last week when we saw similar comps. The in-hand damage is what matters, and the game that we have here is at hand. Cowabunga versus the Bakery. Don't go anywhere, let's get into the game right now.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the plan is here. Obviously, we get the Warriors Axe on Dishonored here playing this Bologna, so I do like that pickup. Shows that you're going to be willing to go a little bit of tankiness. You're not just going directly damage. We've seen a lot of people go Death Toll in that area. But on the other side, you do have to be careful of the carry Bluestone that's going to go on here for Yarkor and Sot. So curious to see how that plays out here, but it's the invade meta, which we've seen all around, and the Bakery are baking it up by running 5 men in the left-hand side.
For the Horde! Look at them go. All just trying to do a great show of force. So, hey, we don't care if we saw you mollywop on stream. We ain't scared. We ain't sweet. The Bakery are not nearly as soft as the delicious buns they be cooking up in their place of business. And in fact, Cowabunga showing, hey, we're hard too. Return that favor with some nice damage there onto Peepers. Now maybe losing a bit of that aggression. In fact, you might lose your Jingwei in a second. Certainly lose that Blink. Donut Doug put in a bit of a hard spot. Does manage to get away.
Yeah, I mean, you get a Blink pre-minion spawning, you're feeling pretty good because that sucker's not coming back up till 4 minutes. So you have to be pretty happy about this. And now the Bach is under attack here. Peepers may not want to peep back around that corner.
Jeepers creepers, where did you get that damage, Peepers? It's thanks to the Ymir. You got to be careful. You have the leap, of course, but if a wall's going to be blocking your path, then it could be a bit tough. At least you don't have to worry about that right now, and neither do you about that purple buff, as Cowabunga decided to take it kindly off their hands. This invade meta coming all the way up for Cowabunga. They end up winning that trade.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of hate towards the invade meta. Obviously, Sunder's a bit overtuned. But I like the fact that it makes it where we don't get these like super traditional starts, that the same thing every single game. Cool. I'm going to start at green and go to purple. Obviously, green's not on the map. This is Smite 2, but you get the point. It's different rotations. It opens up some different availability for what people want to do here, and it's exciting to see.
Certainly is. It's also exciting to see this Odin potentially go down. Cowabunga could be a bit of trouble, but unfortunately, Panatom's come back to unfortunately take that kill out of your hands and put it in their pocket instead. Cowabunga, nice first blood there on Bologna.
Yeah, I'm looking at Sasano, and he goes, hey, it's Friday the 13th. It's time to be a little bit spooky. And just comes around the corner, picks up the first blood. Not too surprised to see that. We've talked about the Sasano and the things that it can do. But now we're back over in the dual lane, and, you know, the Weimer Dimer is looking to hit some people with an ice hammer.
A lot of damage. Sasano's rotated, globetrotting, coast-to-coast violence. Peepers goes down. Yarkor takes that kill. Nice wall. Forces back in last bits of damage on the Loki, who decided to try to make a rotation a bit too late to the punch. And it's going to be Jingwei, sole survivor of that encounter. 2 more kills in the pockets here of Order.
Yeah, Aurora has to be feeling pretty good about the amount of things that went right there for Ymir. I mean, you get to whap on people, you get to hit them with the wall, you get to freeze them, hit them with some ice shards. Overall, you're getting to do all the things Ymir wants to do, and you have 100% health. Like, no one's hitting you back. You're an ice giant for real, and they're running away. So overall, Cowabunga off to an early start here. It's a 1,000 gold lead, and we're only 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. You're feeling pretty good.
They can just keep that pressure going. They stand to be in a good position. That being said, the Bakery, they got tools of their own. Are we kind of just biding our time, waiting for late game? Is mid-game the Bakery's time to open up shop? When do we expect to see them in their prime fighting shape?
You know, I look at this and I think there's a couple things to think about. Obviously, Loki wants to get active early. That's when he is going to be most effective, is that early to mid-game. But if you shut him down early, that gets really, really difficult. Bologna wants to play, you know, mid to late. I think Bacchus is kind of good just all around right now. But if I look at my carries, you know, I want to hit that level 8, level 10 area. And then I'm feeling pretty good here on the Soul and the Jingwei. I just need to get some itemization online. But right now, Odin is in a little bit of trouble.
Now Solar Troll's offline. Good kill there by the Loki. Rotated. Says, take that one, Dad. Try to ground me. Gonna ground you right back. Bakery put themselves on the board. Phantom, not quite the biggest fan. Nice Storm Katana before they dash their way back out. No ultimates online for either of these junglers quite just yet. Once that Assassinate comes up, though, then Loki can start having their trickster fun. Who do you want to see that all too important ultimate placed on top of?
I think you have 3 targets you're looking at, unless one of these tanks gets low like we just saw. Like, if you can go over and you can punish Sot on this Odin. We saw what Odin could do last game. Keeping him behind is going to feel really, really good. But what feels better is if you're shutting down Yarkor on this Kurnanos, if you can somehow get to Paul, good luck with that. Let me know how it goes. If you figure out that strategy, go write a book and release it to the public, because that's the only way I think you have a way into this game, is if somehow you can shut down Paul. But looking at it, I mean, maybe you get Panatom too. I think Panatom, Yarkor have to be your 2 targets. Again, unless Sot's low and you have the commitment of Dishonored.
It could very well be the case if Panatom's getting overly aggressive, but show some aggression here. I don't know if I can say over. They're well within their rights to try to take as much jungle farm as they can. Loki just can't quite 1v1 them in a full frontal fair fight. And that means you got to back up. You got to give up some of that sweet, sweet farm. Now about 5 minutes into this game, it's 3-1, and Cowabunga stand up with a nice 1,300 gold lead. We'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, you're feeling pretty good. If you're Panatom and you're like, cool, let me just dash in real quick. Okay, cool. He ulted out. I got his buff. You lost nothing, and he lost everything. So that's the thing you have to be careful about if you're playing Loki as Jisoo. You have to be careful of the fact of, if they know my Assassinate's down, I'm no longer a threat. I'm just not. I mean, I can go in, I can do a little bit of damage, but look what Yarkor's doing, picking up Peepers, and they were looking for more over there in the duo side. This Bluestone is feeling pretty good, and you have the Devos to go along with it.
And we're just starting to see the stacks on our friends, the Bakery and the dual lane. Unfortunately, the only thing stacking up are the bodies on their side of the field. The corpses to count here. And just going to continue that pressure along, at least objective-wise. Does that story look any better here for the Bakery once Gold Fury starts becoming the object of our affections? Do they have a better chance? Uh-oh. Might have a chance to try to take down this Soul as Panatom once again going aggressive. Might have an answer to our question right here is Cowabunga looks to take that one away. Gold Fury goes to Order.
Well, and I was going to say, I mean, do I think objectives go better for them? You have to play this with a yes or no type of deal. A, you have a Jingwei if you're the Bakery, and I think bombarding over the objective when it gets low has value, because now you can bombard back. You don't fully commit to diving into their team. So you have the idea of being able to steal it. I've done it a couple times. It feels really, really good, but we didn't see that happen there. And the thing you do have to worry about is, well, if I commit to trying to keep them off of gold or fire or steal it, they have a roar on this Ymir.
And they have Loki on the Odin once again. At least you're getting your kills on someone, but Sot's the only one who's been really feeling the hurt. Loki tries to get a bit too big for their britches, says, hey, Sasana, you want this? He says, I do, in fact. The Jetstream just one tick away from finishing the job. They might go in for it. That tower's going to hurt you, buddy. Going to be just fine. Just taking those shots is a bit of a, resistance training. At least Panatom doesn't quite take a tumble, neither does a Bakery.
Yeah, I'm really glad that Dishonored and Jisoo learned from Master Piccolo to dodge and just run away. I think that was the move there, because it was about to be a rough time under the Tier 1 tower if Panatom can just dash in and get a double kill, because it looked like that might be the case. And honestly, he's taking the double kill for a death if they were stepped up a smidge further, no doubt about it. But now, sitting here, he's 1-0-3, Yarkor's 3-0-0. You're feeling pretty good if you're Cowabunga. You're up 2 kills, you're up 2,300 gold, and overall, there's been nothing to stop you as of yet. You just had a couple kills for your Loki, and that's cool, but I don't know if that's really doing the job yet.
Bakery do get themselves a Queen Naga, something to their name. You get a kill on Nepal as well. The Intoxicate's just not going to finish the job. Open the gates placed right at their feet, expecting Bacchus to get overzealous. Didn't quite happen, so that means neither side will experience any casualties. I like that restraint there from Peepers. Even after going down 2 deaths, sometimes you might expect a bit of tilt to take place, and then as soon as you see a kill in front of you, you see red just charge right for it. No, they have restraint. They're looking for the endgame.
Yeah, I respect Peepers here, because I've been in that situation when I've played against Paul in a tournament, and I go, I got this, and I got killed. Let me tell you, the restraint feels a lot better than thinking you have it, okay? It does. Because you walk up and you're like, oh, he's low health. I got this. And then you get bodied, and you're like, I'm really bad at this game. And that's just kind of how you don't want to feel about it. But now, it's the solo slap fest that we're getting to watch here, Sot versus Dishonored. But as of right now, Dishonored, a little bit ahead here, thanks to Jisoo on this Loki. They've played it pretty well thus far.
That is the interesting case here, that this solo lane has been the object of Bakery's affections to good success. The only 2 deaths they have on Cowabunga's side are on this right side of the map. With that being the case, should Loki continue to make some visits to his father in the retirement home, or should we try to spread the love elsewhere?
I think if the goal is to get Dishonored to rotate, then yeah, put him in the retirement home, get him to assisted living, do whatever you got to do to get Odin as far out of this game as possible. But I have to believe you want to get Donut Doug ahead, because right now he's behind. You want to get him at least even. You want J-Bubs to get ahead on this Soul, who is very, very low in the mid lane right now, and Panatom's looking to make a move. It looks like it's going to be some kills. Peepers, the first one to fall.
The rest of them are trying to actually bring up the rear to maybe see if they can take away Panatom with a sneaky little blink there. Going to be forced out from the Assassinate, but Susanoo going to fall through the death stream. It's going to be an instant sweep up there with that Typhoon. Ymir makes the rotation as well just to watch the dominoes tumble. Another 3 kills in total put in the pockets of Order.
Can we talk about the range of the dash back in? Like, he puts it on his target, waits for them to do all their movement to get out, and Panatom goes, hey, you want to see something cool? Want to see a cool trick? Hey, peekaboo, and then just hits him. That's what Loki's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be playing peekaboo, and it's Susanoo doing it instead. And guess what just spawned? It's the Gold Fury, and I imagine Cowabunga has it on their menu, and they're planning on baking it up into a tasty little treat.
Not quite sure how that would actually taste them. Hopefully they got some good seasonings for it, and hopefully the baker's going to arrive with some well-seasoned plays of their own. Bacchus only brought wine. BYOB at the very least. Bring your own flop. Peepers takes it away. Unfortunate for Cowabunga. Beautiful work by the support. They trade their life instead, but that's one thing they're happy to sacrifice.
Yo, worth it 100% of the time. Shoutouts to Peepers, dude. He peeped around the corner, saw that he had the opportunity, and he took it. And that's what we love to see here against the SPL team of Cowabunga. You have to remember, these are all SPL players that they're playing against. And honestly, the odds are stacked against them in the favor. So if we learned anything from the Hunger Games, may the odds ever be in your favor. You have to hope it goes well. That is a Gold Fury in their fair. You asked earlier, how do objectives go? That's about how you have to approach it, in my opinion. You have to go for a steal unless you can push a lead and do an outnumbered fight. And look at this. Dishonored paying the price of the kills from earlier.
Unfortunate to see that as Dishonored gets to receive a bit of the treatment that Solar Troll is experiencing. Doesn't feel too good, does it? Doesn't feel too good to be locked in all close like with the Ymir as well. Seems like Cowabunga are trying to really force the issue. They have the numbers advantage. Soul, not quite sure which way to go. They decided to take the safe path away from their support and gonna be able to get away without too big of an issue. Now it's 11 minutes, 9-2. With that Gold Fury in pocket, the Bakery only 3,000 behind, so it's not too shabby. And we've also, Blaze, reached that point. Soul's past level 10. Jingwei's past level 10. We expected this to be the bakery's time to shine. Are we seeing that? And if not, why?
Well, obviously, Donut Doug's 2 levels behind, but the crit is a little bit online. A little bit. Just a smidge. J-Buzz opts to go the Xe route, not going straight into crit here on the Soul. So you're getting there. You're going to be feeling a lot better in these team fights if you can get in a team fight. Right now, it's been a lot of hodgepodge, 2v2s, 2v3s, 3v2s type of deal. So I think we have to get to a point where they can rotate and be in together, but guess who's paying a visit back to the solo lane?
And that's unfortunate to see if your name is Bologna. Dishonored once again going to be graced with the gray screen in just a second. Panatom sweeps him up with the Typhoon. Didn't want that kill to go in Sot's pocket. Don't want them to get a big head. Makes it 10 here for Cowabunga.
Yeah, don't let Sot get a kill. He's 0-2-3 right now. Keep pushing your lead,
Keep
Panatom.
him
4-0-6. Yeah, keep him humble. Keep him humble, you know. You don't want him getting too crazy. Wait for Uller to be in the game, and then, you know, you let Sot go crazy over there in the solo lane. For now, you just gotta keep him cool. But I had a fun question for you, D'Lo. You know, we have a roar on this Ymir against the bakery, and what kind of baked goods do you think Ymir enjoys?
Ooh, something obviously easily freeze. Actually, at the same time, maybe Ymir's tired of ice. Maybe Ymir wants something nice and warm. You were talking about it off stream, cinnamon rolls. I think that as a Ymir expert, I've put enough hours to understand this god inside out. Cinnamon rolls drizzled with some nice cheesecake frosting, drizzled with maybe a nice kill if you try to keep going in. Might not be the best situation. A roar and a pressure from the bakery, who have now responded in force. And hey, look at this, a rotation. Jingwei moonlighting now as the solo laner.
Yeah, I mean, roll swap, get that farm going. Jingwei has a little bit of an easier time dealing with the Odin, but now Roar getting aggressive.
Unfortunately, couldn't quite find any kills. No cinnamon rolls underneath that tower either, so I'm not quite sure why you're sticking around, Ymir. Oh, never mind. There are kills. Let's try to grab him here. There's they open the gates. Beautiful work by Paul. Sweeps them right up just when they thought they were in the safe zone. Double kill there for the mid.
Must have been 2 cinnamon rolls. He really committed for that. I'm just saying.
Tasty.
Had to be. Had to be. Tasty indeed. And Cowabunga, again, strengthening their lead. It is now pretty significant, but again,
Stay
Loki,
humble.
Stay humble. Stay humble. Put the old man back in the home, and somehow he lets the old man live. He let the father have his time to shine, and that is just not the time you want to have. But Roar says it's okay. I'll put peepers down on the other side of the map. So look at this. Here comes Paul. Oh my goodness, the combination is insane. Is Panaton trying to keep Paul humble too?
I guess so. Dude says, listen, this farm is mine, all right? You guys can have your own pieces later once I'm dead. 5-0 on the Sasano. There's a reason they locked it in first here, Blaze. It's just going to continue to get worse at this point. The bakery, you mentioned that they have that single target damage. We just haven't had a chance for this fight to be split up enough for them to really make good on that vision. Cowabunga are just too efficient at grouping.
Yeah, and here's the thing. They group, and what do they have? They have AoE. They can shut this all down. You step up as a group, you're going to pay the price based off this comp. And Cowabunga did pay the price early on. We did see, just so on this Loki, go and delete a target. It happened to be Sot, but that was the job that needed to happen. We need to pick off single targets. We need to take fights that are manageable in our favor. We can't afford going 3v3, 4v4, 5v5. We need something like 2v2 or 1v2, just like we're seeing right now.
Ooh, we're going to have the numbers added up just a little bit. Nice mushroom placed down, heals up the rest of the remaining members. Bologna could be a bit separated here. The board charges right on forward. Could be troublesome here as the shards of ice charge up, and Bologna's brought down. Panatom takes them on within the cage. Donut grabbing themselves a little tower on the left side, but unfortunately, a life has been traded for it, and potentially an FG. The bakery need to step up quick before this game heats up a bit too much for them to control and fan the flames. Bach is going to be the only one in charge. They've stolen an objective before. This one's not going to be allowed. Aurora takes it down. Bach is going to be followed up.
I think we missed an opportunity here, D'Lo. Because one of the things that Ymir might like as a baked good is a donut. And we have Donut Doug in this game. Donut Doug's in the game, man. I'm just saying. Maybe we missed the opportunity here. Cowabunga go through, take the Fire Giant, though. And they are now pushing a lead that is pretty substantial. And it's going to be really, really hard to come back from here. But the tier 2s are now gone. It has to come down to Phoenix defenses. But Panatom is saying, I don't really care that the Phoenix there. We're looking for a fight.
Might not be the one you want, though. Here comes the Jing Wei rotating on it. I heard you like donuts. Here's one right at your doorstep. Ymir didn't quite ask for that order or delivery. They said, that Uber's not mine. Please leave me be. Aurora, unfortunately, going to be gracing the gray screen just shortly. Now Cowabunga have the turns tabled. Paul trying to escape thanks to that portal, but who's waiting on the other end? It's Loki here to greet their father once more. So nice when sons are willing to visit their dads in their old age. Unfortunately, Odin's not going to quite visit the fountain just yet. The bakery do hold firm.
Yeah, so far, I mean, this is the bakery turnaround that they needed. They have finally cooked, they baked some goods, and now they're looking to turn it around, but at the cost of what? It seems like it might actually turn around not in their favor.
As Yarkor gets taken down there by Jabuz, that's pretty solid. Good shutdown, but Bacchus is trying to run. Unfortunately, he can't run from Paul. Jabuz gets taken down as well. This Agate is unstoppable. Might just be the Odin up next. Loki says, you're going to pay for that last one, buddy. Jisoo, unfortunately, not going to be granted that kill as Paul's on the triple. Odin just trying to stay alive by any means. The Naga wants in on the action, too. Shouldn't have pissed her off, Bologna. Paul takes that one away for the delayed quadra kill. Beautiful work there by Cowabunga. They turn it on its head.
Ring, ring, ring. It's an ambulance. It's not for me, is what Paul says. Paul turns it around. He says, you want to go for Sot? We've kept him humble. It is time to turn it around. You're going to have to deal with me. Now 10-0-4 on the Hecate. Pulling a Gold Fury as well, and Cowabunga are looking real strong with their mid laner just going absolutely insane here in that fight.
Bakery had a good moment, man. They started to cook, and then unfortunately, someone shut off the gas. And that just was a result of a bit of overextension. They maybe didn't quite realize that Cowabunga were still all too willing to fight. Now 18 minutes in, 20-5 in favor of Order. And a 12,000 gold lead. Small businesses are not sustainable when you're at a deficit like this. How can they get into a different tax bracket?
I mean, we saw it. We saw it over at the right-hand Phoenix. They defended. It looks good. We're like, oh, they're baking. We finally got them there, and they bit off more than they could chew. They said, hey, I don't want just the regular cinnamon roll. I want the extra large. And they went for too much. They got too full, too fast, and they paid the price at the Gold Fury pit there.
Eyes a bit bigger than their stomachs. And unfortunately, some big objectives on the mark here for Cowabunga. Bakery pushing down this right side tier 2, but is that really worth the bird if it gets cooked? Gonna have to find out as they try to move their way on in. Cowabunga this time grouped up 4 men in force while Susano takes to the left side. Jing Wei with the airstrike finds a bit of damage onto the Ymir, but they're still just fine. Solo just trying to tank this Phoenix. Hasn't worked out well for you in the past, buddy. Best make sure you're careful as they try to finish the job. One wall just keeps them cut off, but Cowabunga haven't gotten any poke on the gods and not enough on this Phoenix to quite bring it down. Now Bach is going to enter the fight, intoxicates them all. It's BYOB, but did you bring any kills to the Fiesta? Odin Cage dropped down. Here comes the Wild Hunt as well. They're going aggressive. Solar Troll, not humble anymore. They get 2 kills off the bat. Ball finishes it off there onto J-Buzz. They are immortal. They will never die. Can't say the same there for Jisoo. Another double kill there brought to the mid.
Dude, Sot is just going in and jumping on everybody and Goomba stomping them at the Phoenix. It is impressive that he was able to live through that and get as much damage off through Odin jump and shield. And that is going to lead Cowabunga to a victory here in the semifinal and send him into the finals. D'Lo, we have to be talking about banning Hecate in this finals game, no matter who they're against, because Paul went 12-0-7 and made it look easy.
Yeesh, man. Yeesh. I mean, they ban away the Neath. That's Paul's pick prior, and now you give him what god? What god can you give Paul that's not going to operate so smoothly on? 12-0 is just such a disgustingly good performance, and there were moments of brilliance. The flames were being turned on for the bakery. They had the lights on. They had the business up and running. Unfortunately, though, they cut their fingers with a knife, they stumbled over themselves, they got a bit too big for their britches, and they got smacked for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really impressed here. I have to say that I do think Bakery did have a good turnaround there. There were some highlight moments. There is something to be happy about here. I know this loss doesn't feel good, but this is going to be something they can grow from and know, hey, we had a chance at certain points. We just have to put the rest of the puzzle together. But, D'Lo, I think we're heading over to a break, if I'm not incorrect.
Indeed, we are. Finals coming at you in just a bit. Cowabunga looking to reclaim the crown from week 1. Will they take it or will it be snatched away? Find out in just a bit after the break.
Stranded in the open, dried out tears of sorrow, lacking all emotion, staring down the barrel, waiting for the final gates to open to a new tomorrow. I've been nothing but a girl who really should be nothing less. Don't mess up, and don't you tell us all how you actually feel. If you do, then they'll cut you right at the heel, and it hurts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Smite Prime Week 2, the battle for Asgard, the battle to see if anyone can dislodge Cowabunga from their Iron Throne. I'm Dilo, joined here by Spooky Mars once again. We got Cash Money Morty, Almighty Eye in the Sky, and Jithin's running the admin behind the scenes. Spooky, Jesus, how we feeling?
You know, D'Lo, now that you got my name out of your mouth, I'm feeling fantastic. I'm glad you still remembered it. I mean, Cowabunga has been on a tear this week and last. They're going up against PPP now. They're not any slouches themselves. We saw them a little bit earlier in the tournament, and they only got here to the finals by defeating another team. That was Polar Bear Mike's team. Right? We saw them last week. Few changes to that roster, but make no mistake, Triple P here had their work cut out for them, and they rose to the challenge. Face off against Cowabunga in the finals.
Now Cowabunga rise into this first pick occasion. Fenrir is going to be the first lock. Seems that we are always prioritizing those Panatom picks. PPP respond with the soul. For Cowabunga's strategy, do we think that it's always going to be the best case to top lock that jungle, or should we maybe look for other picks? Why do you think they're going behind that as the Odins gets locked in here for Triple P?
I mean, honestly, I cannot blame Cowabunga at all. Panatom has looked just fantastic on everything he's done, but that might not even be a jungler. That could, in fact, be an Aurora pick on this Fenrir with Panatom going back to Sasano. This is not unheard of. We've certainly seen it before. And if there's one guy I trust to run a Fenrir support, it's Polar Bear Mike, but Aurora's a close second.
It might not just be a case of the fact that Fenrir is a good support, as Hecate, certainly a good mid on behind Paul's very well-sculpted hands. Fenrir not just only gives you a decent support, but also takes away a very good jungle option here for Triple P. And that might just be worth what you lose in your typical Guardian PLCC support. You still gain by taking that tool off the table for Triple P to use. So what's left on the table for them to play with in terms of their jungle options?
And they still have a few going for them. It's not Ares, all right? They still have Thanatos on the board. I'm not super big on that personally. It definitely can work, but I think it's rather feast or famine. I'm not the highest on him. We've seen the Morgan be picked up in jungle a couple times. Again, not the biggest on that option either, but it's something that's there. One that's overlooked is Athena. Still perfectly viable in a jungle position, has lots of global presence, can move across the map very quickly with her dash, good damage, good CC, and honestly, into the Sasano and the Fenrir, it might be a good pickup here just to disrupt the damage that they can put out.
667 number 1. Weekend approves of that statement, and PPP approves of Sununo's
Wasn't that an
lock-in.
Odin?
So clearly going to. I mean, they do have an Odin, to be fair. We have to find out if they can do a bit more damage than that. Hopefully, we'll be seeing that happen. And that brings up an interesting question. You have to imagine that Soul's mid, we saw it prior. I don't know. Where do you want to see these two ADCs roam?
I kind of want to see the Kronos in mid and Soul still in the duo lane, just because I think Kronos has a little bit better wave clear than Soul does, just for the Bramble Blast. And he can build intelligence and have very strong wave clear and start doing magical damage as well. Now, you can say that you don't want to have both your backliners doing magic damage, in which case maybe just have Kronos do the standard physical build. That's absolutely fine as well. But I do think I prefer him in the mid lane just because he feels a little bit more impactful with his rotations, with the ultimate, the wild hunt that he can bring. I just prefer it.
Yeah, you rotate, you turn 2 people into pigs, and you get yourself some nice pork chops. Bacchus and Honor. Gonna be that dual lane lock? Potentially? No, I don't even know who's going where anymore. There's quite a few options on the table. Bacchus certainly is very capable as that solo side. Loki, though, we know where they're going. That's their jungle pick. We were talking about it earlier. How do we feel about where this god of chaos and mischief slots in alongside PPP?
All right, hear me out.
What you got?
Kronos jungle, Loki.
Okay,
mid.
valid.
No, I hate that. Don't agree with me.
Okay,
on
never
that.
mind. My bad.
If we see that, I will eat a shoe. It's something that you could do if you were feeling frisky, but most likely you got nailed down. Loki most likely to be going to that jungle, has a lot of rotations, can match some of the damage that Fenrir and Susano puts out. A little bit more difficult to execute on. I do believe we already saw how well Cowabunga can handle a Loki in the jungle. So really gonna have their work cut out for them. I would say the pilot needs to be very aware with this pick. We already saw him pop off with it once. Can he do it again? Can he do it as effectively? He's got a few more gods to be worried about here. The damage output in particular. Cowabunga can simply turn around on the Loki ganking them and say, that's really funny, buddy, but unless you have 2 other people here with you, on her and Fenrir is a lot of damage. On her and Bacchus is a lot of damage. Hecate and Sasano is a lot of damage. Like, where do you go? It's going to be a difficult knife's edge to walk.
What's also going to be a bit of a double-edged sword, I love the Ares pick, and I'm also a bit worried about the Ares pick. I love it because those chains are so efficient at locking down every member except for Hecate, really, of
Yes.
Cowabunga. At the same time, you don't have that Typhoon, you don't have that Desert's Fury, you don't have an ultimate from your backline other than CERN that really benefits from that no escape pull. So PPP, their ideal team fight, what does that look like in your eyes?
Ideally, you're pulling people into an Odin cage, dropping the Wild Hunt on top of them, and maybe following up with the Supernova. I think you can hold off on the Supernova. Baron Aerie doesn't need to drop that just because he sees an Ares ult. But you've still got some good follow-up just from the in-hands from this Kurnos and the Soul. So we'll see how it goes.
Indeed, we will. Cowabunga, can they reclaim the throne for a second time in 2 weeks? Let's find out. Game coming at you. And we're back. Cowabunga.
There it is.
PPP. It's Smite Prime 2, baby. It's 5 men stacking up in this bush. Man, we need to mow this grass. Someone just let the Yardskeeper really let this all get out of control here for Smite 2. And we're looking to
Seen
see
this
if
again.
Cowabunga can keep this one going. And I love this. This is so funny. When you have 5 people on each side just stacking up like, huh, guess no one's home.
You know, we had this in PPP's last match as well. The same exact, well, the last one we watched had the same kind of grouping where we had 5 people on each side, rotate down, find absolutely no one. Look at this. Cowabunga's doing a full reset, whereas PPP decides to just take the long route back. Keep your eyes on Moods, though. He did this last time. He sticks around up by the enemy side, tries to see if he can steal away a red buff.
Interesting to find out if that will be the case this time around. It would certainly be nice to try to put some speed bump in the roadmap of Paul, who just we saw on stream went 12-0, but you might be in a bit of trouble. You have Susano and Fenrir stacking up against you. Meanwhile, on the left lane, you have Bacchus trying to provide that exact same spoiler role. Quick sippy from their flask before they decide to move on in here. I don't know. They got the Sunder. It's proven very effective for Cowabunga so far. We're going to have to find out how the invades all lie. Bach is just continuing to bully that Cern, and they got to back away. That's unfortunate to see that aggression already coming up really big here for Cowabunga.
Man, that's just the nature of the meta right now. One thing we should note, it is Panatom on the Fenrir. Solo Troll taking the Susano into the solo lane right now.
True.
He's already actually had a little bit of opposition there. Moods hung around for a very long time. There hasn't been too much of a response from it. You can see Aurora's kind of taking a stroll around the back camps here. Because, well, since Moods isn't in lane, let's go ahead and just see what we can take away from the jungler. Pilot not going to be too happy to find both his back camps already taken out of the map. That's just kind of the nature of the game. When you decide to make a play like that and stick around for so long, there are consequences to it, and Cowabunga is absolutely a team that can punish it.
It's going to sow discord amongst the team. This is also a lot of a discordant fight. Could be troublesome here for the Ares. Spitting out the flames, but we got the hot plays on the side of Panatom. Drops down Moods with the quickness. First blood taken away already for Cowabunga.
I don't think that was the quickness. Mercury isn't quite in the game just yet, but it was a quick kill. This is going to be return to the opposite side. Heed picks up Solar Troll with a little bit of help over there from Pilot. So, north side, already making some moves on the right side. It does come at a consequence, right? Losing Moods that early is a little bit of a problem, in my opinion. Ares is a god who is feast or famine. He's either doing very well, walking at you, putting out some good damage and taking your hits, or he's behind and he's doing no damage and he's taking your hits very badly and just instantly dies.
Yeah. Especially when they become really the center of attention there with that no escape. You become quite literally a golden channeling target high in the sky saying, please, basic attack me, Desert's Fury me, do anything you so please in the channel period before I pull you back in. And Cowabunga have plenty of damage to respond with that. We're seeing some drop here on top of the soul. That Brutalize and Unchained. Disapparate enters its immunity just in the nick of time to save the mid.
Now on the left side, though, Moods goes down once again. That's his second death in just under 3 minutes. Not a great start for the Ares, but not all doom and gloom, right? It's great for Baronary to be in that mid lane and have that disapparate. That gets him out of danger from Panatom. If you swapped around, if it was Kurnanos over there, yeah, you're probably dying there. So, good on PvP. Recognize where to put their strengths here. This pressure does not relent. Just look at where Panatom is. He's constantly just looking for a way to get some advantage for Paul. And why not? Paul went 12-0 in his last game. He's already shown how effective he is on this Hecate. You've got to be careful.
Oh, a DBZ trade there in the solo lane. If everyone dies in the solo lane, does it really make a sound? And that's going to be 2 kills either way. 1 for each side. Me on the left side. Cowabunga trying to get a bit more aggressive here. Bacchus not quite at level 5, so no ultimate on deck, but they still have the advantage in terms of pure bluster and aggression. This Fenrir wants blood. Going to be Loki, who might be the recipient of that aggression. Ares is trying to step up because we know what Cowabunga are here for. It's these buffs, baby. On her, spends that Desert's Fury, snipes it away, just PPP being slowly starved from their farm.
That's what Cowabunga does, man. They just step forward with all this aggression, and it creates this almost oppressive atmosphere where the enemy team has to respond to them, but what response can you really give? Your solo laner dies, so he's not going to be making a rotation over. You're already split. Your Ares is 2 levels down right now. There's only so many things you can do, and right now it's not feeling like a lot. To answer your question, Dilo, yes, it actually tends to make twice as much sound when both people die in the solo lane because the announcer says it twice.
Ah, good point, good point. We have to find out if we can maybe get some more kills action here for PPP on this left side. So far, it's been really just all focused on the solos for those solos, but now we're looking for the soul instead. We're trying to blot out the sun. Disapparate's not going to save it from the giant puppy dog. Aurora gets a nice little shoot away brought back. We're playing fetch, and Bacchus is all too happy to get that teleport portal right back to safety.
I had no idea he could take that while chained. That's crazy. Moods just gets robbed of the kill there. Still, it's like they're trying to pressure forward. Unfortunately for them, Aurora gets reset back to base. So there's just 1 more kill for Cowabunga. Baronary, not having the best time in mid, does have his Devourer's Gauntlets completed, not stacked. I have to take some time for that. the pressure has been unrelenting, not just in the mid lane, but really in these back camps as a whole. A lot of the fights that have started have been fights that Cowabunga themselves have decided to take on their terms, not even on their turf. They're stepping all the way forward and just demanding that PvP either lets them do what they want or die trying to stop them.
What do they want right now? It's a kill in the mid lane. Might not be granted to you, though. Soul staying safe. You talked,
What?
Spookster, about that oppressive atmosphere, and you can feel it. You can feel the atmosphere for PvP. I mean, when those first camps were just stolen away by Aurora, you got to imagine the comms were probably saying when they arrived to see their harpies taken away, come on, Baronary, did you take that? And they're probably squabbling. It's a really great way to get inside the heads. Now trying to get inside the kill board. Once again, Odin could be in trouble some here from these two assassin-like targets, looking to try to finish them off. And indeed, it's a canon event. Ragnarok has indeed come. Fenrir takes down the Odin. Unfortunately, no, Aurora getting a bit too big for their britches, falls down. They take moves along with them. You just can't have anything if you're this area.
No, that's a 2-for-1 across the map. Cowabunga's fine with that. PvP should feel somewhat good about it because at least they've punished Aurora for his constant aggression. However, Yarkor just going in under the tower over here, trying to get one more kill for his team. Golden gonna survive for now. But this is just the story of Cowabunga, and it's told through the way that they draft. Aggression, early game damage, set the pace of the game, and command it from there. Once they have control, this is a team that does not relinquish that control. They will hold onto it tightly. Sure, they might give you a little bit of slack now and then, but it's always just to lure you a little bit deeper to try to turn things around again.
Yeah, you need the dog whisper. If someone gets Caesar Milan up here to just get a tight leash for this Fenrir. Instead, the chains just aren't finding the mark at the right times, or maybe just not finding the right targets. But you said it, it's feast or famine, and we're starting to starve here for PvP. It's 7 minutes, 6-3, doubling the kills here for Cowabunga. 3K up. Who do we think is PPP as far as just the individual players that stand on the roster, the individual gods? Who is their hope, their shining beacon back into this game?
Honestly, he's kind of on pilot right now. He's the one that's crossing the map the most. He's got the best rotations. Sure, Baronary can leave mid and try to bring some aggression to a lane, but he doesn't have the same burst damage that Pilot does. The soul strength is really in just burning targets down and consistent DPS. If they want to turn things around, it's on Pilot to make a move and try to bring something to one of these lanes.
We're trying to bring some damage to Susano in mid, trying to bring the damage back on this Soul. Paul takes them down, and Susano is going to fall as well. 1-for-1 across the map. Every single time it seems that Cowabunga are, across all of their games today, receiving deaths, it's oftentimes in this short lane.
Yeah, it's just kind of the nature of the lane, right? You're on your own most of the time. A lot of the attention is being turned somewhere else. And frankly, it's a squishy character as we see Golden being aggressed on under this tower. And Dance for his life actually survives. Good
Nice.
use of the tower.
We'll take that. Second time it's happened. Can you survive the
Oh,
puppy
no.
dog, though? They are not similarly restrained. They are unbound. Panatom will not respect your boundaries, tower or otherwise. Dives in for the kill and slinks back to the bushes.
And this is just... It's just how Cowabunga plays, man. Sure, you survived one attack. You even survived the second. But what about the third
What about
attack
the third?
coming
Did you
through on
consider
you?
that?
It's like, it's never ending. They don't stop until they got what they came for. Now Paul actually has to take a step back, almost kills Pilot. Not great given what we were just discussing. Turn our eyes back to that right side. You know, these kills on Solar Troll really aren't doom and gloom for Cowabunga. Take a look at the gold. They're still 3,500 gold ahead right now. Solar Troll is playing a squishier character into a bruiser. Mystical Mail's online for Heed, so he's just not going to be winning most of those trades. That's just how this goes. What he's playing this Susano for is when they start grouping, he starts rotating, and he's able to just dismantle the backline of PPP, as Yarkor has just done.
Holden goes down this time, no tower to save you, and unfortunately that means you're Dunsky. Soul can use that to separate. Mushroom has been dropped, but it's not going to be quite enough. Baronary, their flames have been extinguished there by Aurora. Gates have been open. That's A-OK. PPP's team has been cracked wide open as well, and that allows Cowabunga to resume this Gold Fury in earnest.
Man, you know, I just gotta call it out. I just watched Yarkor miss 3 spears on the Gold Fury here.
SMH.
Yeah.
Washed. Washed, I say.
It'll be fine. They're gonna get the Fury, no problem. They pick up Baronary easily in that fight. They just play so well with their superior numbers. They group up so effectively, and this has kind of been the theme for Cowabunga across both tournaments we've seen so far. They just have such good team play. The synergy is online, and when a call is made, they don't go with 1 or 2. They go with as many as they can feasibly grab, whether that's 3 or 4, usually leaving Sot over on that right side. Everyone is there, and so far the response just hasn't been there from the competition.
It's really good map awareness. It's really good team awareness. It's just finessed communication and cohesion. Fenrir put on a leash temporarily, but that's A-okay. Says it's fine to be a domesticated dog, but now I'm crazy. Best watch out. Cernunos is not here to help you. That's what happens when you test them. Just trying to poke their bear a little bit, test their luck. It's not going to end well for you if you keep trying to aggress onto Panatom.
You know, it really does fit like the Fenrir jump animation so well. Now, Aurora continuously bring this aggression. Like, this is just what we're gonna be seeing. Aurora will be back here. He will be trying to take camps, and he's gonna make people answer him. Whether they do that successfully or not is rather irrelevant, because already, this is too much time. Aurora's already spent so much time running around, it doesn't matter if he dies or not.
And I don't even think he's gonna. Susano comes to bail him out. Soul's already abandoned the chase, recognizing, that's pointless. We can't catch up to Susano. And you know what? Now that we're seeing those rotations, what you mentioned before, Susano can start grouping. They're going to be everywhere on the map all at once, and we're seeing it here. Lurking for that mid lane. The gates have been open. Not going to find any targets knocking at those doors, which means PPP at the very least remains safe for now.
And Goddamn really just kind of opens the gates up, takes a look through. Hello? Anybody there? No one answers the calls, closes them, walks away. And apparently they're going to just bring one over. They did not like the rudeness.
Yeah, come on, guys. The housewarming party just started. It'd be awfully rude to reject our invitation. PPP did not answer the E-Bite, but that's A-okay. Fenrir is going to go door-to-door knocking like a Jehovah's Witness and finds a lucky house guest to come on over. Unfortunately, that means Cowabunga now can just grab anything else on the map that's available. It's Queen Naga. Goes their way. Now 13 minutes in. 12 kills on their side to 4. PPP've got to find some answers.
Look where this game is being played, D-Lo. Right,
anywhere but the lane.
Anywhere but the lane. Anywhere but the tier 1 towers. This gameplay is so deep in enemy territory. Look at Aurora and Pilot. Aurora's level 10 as a support. Pilot is only 1 level up on him right now. He's being starved for farm, and it's because of how much is being taken away from him by Aurora, and how much time is being wasted for him, again, by Aurora. He's just sapping so much golden XP away. He's just back here again.
Why not? Sure, can't put the line in chains at this point. No escape, but that circus performance is going to come to an end very shortly. Both Toadstools have been dropped. Rotation here from the Loki. The Floppus is off the mark, but the Belch will land true. Doesn't find the stun, though. Could find himself in a bit of trouble at this point. Wild Hunt has been expended, but he's already a wild lion. He's not going to be domesticated whatsoever. Pilot's the first one to go. Yarkor does get taken out there by Golden. Their chances look good, but can you finish the Ares before you go down? No. Aurora takes a tumble. Nice double kill there for Golden. Meanwhile, in the solo, Odin could be experiencing another canon event. No matter what timeline you're in, buddy, it's just not looking too hot for you. Susano and Fenrir looking to try to finish the kill. Solo or Troll takes the credit.
Still, even with that kill going on to Heed, PPP has to feel great about how that went on the left side. That is a brilliant moment for them. Golden picking up a double kill. He's 2-2. He is even right now. A little behind in gold, a little behind in XP. But the fact that you could take that fight and keep Moods alive through it is a massive boon for your team. That's huge for the mental, and look where they are now. They're gonna have this Gold Fury, but they gotta be careful of Paul stepping out.
Definitely want to be careful about that, but hey, Baronary grabbed themselves a nice Fury for their side at the very least. Evens up the count for that objective. Doesn't quite even up the gold in its entirety.
No.
Still 6,000 behind. Doesn't feel the greatest, but we're starting to actually make some headway. We're starting to make some plays for ourselves, and we're starting to approach that team fight phase. We talked about the desk, Spooky, the game plan, the roadmap for a successful PPP team fight. Seeing how things have played out, has that strategy changed at all?
It's changed in how many people you can aggress on at once, and this might be too many for Moods. going to go down quickly. And now they really can't execute a game plan. They're too far behind to take an honest fight against Cowabunga. It's not going to stop Panatom from going in.
They go with the Ragnarok. They might pay for it, though. The assassination job has been complete. Pilot says target down. Shut down there onto the puppy dog. The cage is down, too. Bacchus might be down in a second. The lunge going to find some damage, but Kate is enough to ward them off. Unless the gates open up, Odin does not want to answer the call. Unfortunately, might be calling to Valhalla in just a second. Nonetheless, Aurora finishes the job. Baroneri gets swept up in the back by the god of the winds. Susano escapes with barely any life. And now Sir Nuno's going to test their luck. Maybe he took the test and failed. Yarkor puts them back in the grave. Moods to follow it up. He just spawned. Leave them be. DSI there for Cowabunga.
So that is a little bit of a less brilliant moment for PPP. Excellent fight from Cowabunga. Played that phenomenally. A little iffy on the original call from Panatom to go that deep with no backup. But hey, they turned everything around. That one kill encouraged PPP to go a little bit further forward. And that was just the slack. The reins weren't let go of. Cowabunga still had control. But a little slack to make PPP step forward. Think, okay, we got one. We can take this fight. And immediately, the rest of them just collapse on in and start turning everything around. He makes a questionable call to go into the jungle rather than back towards the tower with the rest of his team. Probably what gets him killed there, but you can argue that he would have died either way. All said and done, but Moods, oh my god!
Form of a boar, unfortunately, turned to bacon strips just as quickly, and the Sununos is on your team. So unfortunate. Ares, it's a sink or swim pick, and unfortunately, we're kind of crashing beneath the waves at the moment. They still have waves back in this. We just need the rest of PvP to maybe distract a little bit while the no escape is being popped off to ensure that Ares doesn't get ribbons. But Fire Giant is indeed being torn to shreds, secured there by Cowabunga with no issue.
Fact is, Mood cannot be the one that goes in first. It has to be Heed leading that charge. If they want to have any chance of surviving these fights, it's got to be this Odin getting in there first, dropping that cage, and forcing Cowabunga to expend something on him. That's the only way Moot is going to survive. Look, he can take these hits. Look at him. He's got 4 people around him. Okay, he might die now.
Though? I don't know about that one, buddy. Already the lunge has been expended, and Heed will not heed our word to stick with the team. Instead, dies in the solo lane, which means his tier 1 is about to be toast, torn to shreds. Susano could be in a spot of bother here, caught in the midst of many. And they're going to be taken out there by Pilot. A huge shutdown grants a bit of reprieve here for Chaos.
But, like, just consider how much longer he lasted in that than Moods did. And it's nothing against him, like, as a player. He's simply too far behind to survive that onslaught. He has more tools for it, and if they're grouped up and he's taking the aggression there, he's absolutely fine if Panatom decides to ult an Odin in a team fight. That's a winning trade for them. They just have to get all together because Cowabunga is consistently moving as a unit. It's never a 1v1. It's always going to be a 3v1, unless it's Aurora. And it might be like a 1v3.
That's fine. Aurora's got the strength and the blubber of 3 men. Going to be 1 kill already down. The Baronaries Solar Troll pops up in just a second, so Cowabunga will be in full fighting force to ride this wave to victory. PPP need to find a way to harsh their mellow quick for the siege of the Phoenix.
It's going to be a tough one to defend. Baronary down for 30 seconds means PPP's damage output is extremely low right now. Cowabunga's just going to walk in on this.
Yeah, with no issues at all. Aurora treats it just like they've treated every single fight in the jungle. Heed, unfortunately, did not heed the rest of the words of PPP to retreat. They go down once again. With that, they've lost their initiation. Now it's got to be all up to Moods. And they just don't have the tankiness to stand up against the spank of Cowabunga. Midbird down. Bacchus just going to stroll on in. It's a leisurely day here on the Smite 2 map. Unfortunately not for PPP. They're in trouble. Damage raining down with that Typhoon. The No Escape finds some good targets, but the bees immune everything, and now you're the one being pulled back in. No escape for you either. Killing spree here for the Bacchus. The right bird is down, and Cowabunga are now looking to maybe take that leisurely stroll right through the throne room. You don't mind if I walk here, right? PPP say, please stop trespassing.
Oh my.
Bacchus can't quite hear you. The gates have been opened. The beads keep them safely in the fountain, but the cage prevents them from getting back in. Solar Troll goes down again. Hold on. Baroneri's going ham. They're heating up. as Aurora gets taken off as well.
There you go.
Cowabunga stopped in their tracks. Denver not sure if they want to aggress and goes back in. Panatom finds the last hit there on a pilot who crash lands where their Phoenix used to stand. Could be a bit of trouble here for the Cripples. This dog's been put on a leash. Now walk, he says. Sit, lay down. Panatom gets taken out there by Golden. Yarkor takes it off on the Baronary. Paul trades there with Golden for the Rampage. It's only the Odin left alive. They leap over the wall to survive. And now it's Heed. Will you heed our words this time? Will you heed the call to battle? Cowabunga, they've got Winions and they've got the victory on their mind. Cowabunga are in their prime. They take the finals.
What an amazing end for that game. PPP was so close to finding a defense there, but everything they did was just matched, a one-for-one trade until it was the backline left from Cowabunga. And unfortunately for PPP, that backline is all you need to close out a game. With Yarkor and Paul standing strong, they simply walked forward, and Heed could not dissuade those two members from just putting the hurt onto the Titan with a whole wave of fire minions. They fought and they tried, but they came up short.
I can almost hear, like, in my mind, just a telepathic communication with their parents. I'm like, we win this, surely. Winnable, winnable. Guys, turn, winnable. And they just leap right back in. To be fair, you can't fault them for it. It certainly was winnable. Cowabunga now truly showing they are the Smite Prime team to beat. They are pummeling all of the competition here, but PPP, hey, they put up an awfully good fight. They had some good moments. If we had to highlight one player, one aspect of synergy between their team, who do we think deserves those laurels?
I'm not sure we could put it on any one person at that point. Really, their best moment was at that final defense, and that was a full team effort. There was no single person. Baronary absolutely started it off, finding that first kill. But from there, everyone simply put out 110% of what they had. The simple fact is that they were too far behind for that extra 10% to make up the deficit.
It was well fought. It was bloody. It was brutal. But at the end of the day, Cowabunga take it once again. And with that, that is all we have here for today for the Battle of Asgard and Smite Prime Week 2. Tune in next time, next Friday, for when we see if Cowabunga, will they finally be displaced from that crown. I've been D'Lo. He's been Spooky Mars. You heard the vocal talents earlier of Blaze McBlaine. On the cams, we had Cash Money Morty and Jithens backing us up with all their admin expertise. Please make sure to thank our production for all the work they do. We cannot yell about games without them. And finally, thank you, loyal, obedient viewer, for your time. We hope you've enjoyed these matches just as much as we have. With that, good games and good night.